Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. A fine Ballsmick Wednesday to you and yours. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But if you do, remember this, all 3 hours going to be posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the program. Brought to you with limited commercial interruption, our great podcast sponsor, Carlton Dean. Fine folks at SVN showing you ways to make money, commercial real estate, income-producing property. Go to carltondean.com to find out more. Email the show if you want. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Thanks for those emails. We don't get back to everybody, but we certainly appreciate the input, and we make our interns read them all. And sometimes they get through the filter. Remember when you were a filter guy?
Oh, yeah.
Way back when.
I was going
Many
on
moons ago.
8 years ago, yeah. I was a good filter, even for the phone callers in those days.
One of the best. One of the best. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. The WTSM app is good for your mobile devices. You can watch us perform our duties on a regular basis via YouTube.
You can actually chat with us on YouTube, too. We usually respond to just about everybody who talks on the YouTube chat.
I can do that, too. I haven't been responding because I'm organizing the show, and you guys have other things you have to do. You're part of the show, but there's other things you're doing, and I don't want to put that added pressure on you. But Matthew's the director. He can respond to everybody. I think he can do that. Right?
Oh, he does. He'll give them some snark, some love
he gives
as
them
it
snark,
applies.
does
Well,
he?
it's just
a little quick
gotta know.
snarkiness. Yeah.
When's it time to push a button? When's it time to put your arm around a shoulder and
Sure,
say,
it's like coaching.
yeah, exactly right. He's Joe Torre right now for us, yeah.
Well, you know what? Congratulations on the folks who put together the event last night or yesterday afternoon while we were on the air, I should say. The Live for Life event, which is a good one. We talked about it some yesterday as it was going on, benefiting the Kids First Fund. And you know what? Great output in terms of the players that were there. And, you know, one thing I don't want to immediately turn this into, okay, well, that's great. How's it help in football? But in truth, it's your first good look at a lot of the guys that'll be reporting real soon. And in some cases, it's your first look at freshmen. And so, you know, people are going to be out there checking out who's what and, what does the big-time recruit look like that shows up to something like this. And, between what Josh Kando looks like and Marvin Wilson looks like, and in what Derwin James had to say about Marvin Wilson at the ACC media kickoff, quote unquote, if you think I'm a freak, that guy is.
All right, that's a big name.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say, now, this is the kind of thing on July the 19th you get very excited about. Every year there's a picture or something along those lines when people report to work out or to practice for the first time, and they're in, shorts and shoulder pads or shorts and a T-shirt that everybody gets all excited. It doesn't mean somebody's going to translate into domination. But, there is no questioning that Derwin James is an athletic phenomenon, right? And everybody knows that, including, I think, Derwin. I think he knows that. That's been part of who he is for some time now. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You're better athletes. If you've ever played with them, you're great athletes. Are very in tune with their body. They know what they can do. They know what they're capable of. And they certainly have eyes. They know when it's better than everybody else around them. So to hear him talk about an incoming freshman the way that he talked about Marvin Wilson, I do think you can lend some credence to that. Great athletes talking about other athletes in glowing terms. I don't expect him to dog the guy either, but I'm just saying they don't usually go out of their way if they haven't noticed something that catches their eye in terms of the physicality of a player or the speed, depending on the position or the strength, if they've been in the gym with them, something that catches their eye. And because they're freaks themselves, they tend not to bring other people up or into that kind of conversation, into that realm. To hear him do it and then to see the guy, that's heartening. You feel pretty good about what that kid's going to be pretty quickly.
I go back to the same position group, and it was one of their position mates that was talking about them. Florida State Media Days. Mario Edwards Jr. was talking about Noddy and Christmas and what they were going to be in the years coming because he had seen Timmy Jernigan. He had seen Eddie Goldman, and he played with them. And so, these younger guys who weren't going to be taking the reps away from an Eddie Goldman that particular season, he said, oh, yeah, that looks similar to this dude, and this guy looks similar to that guy. And, lo and behold, here we are, senior seasons, and we really think that the combination of Noddy and Christmas leading the way is going to be one of those cornerstones to where we need to get. And if Marvin Wilson takes 15 to 20 reps a game, maybe he can take them at a higher level than we even expected, being a blue-chip player, number 2 player in the country, according to Rivals.com.
Yeah, well, the lauding of a player, of an incoming freshman at a position where it's not traditional for them to step in and make a huge impact has happened here recently, and it happened in a real positive way, obviously, and it was pretty evident. We bring it up all the time. The celebration for the coaches on signing day when they got Timmy Jernigan. They knew they had a freak. Young man out of Lake City, everybody knew this guy's going to come in and he's going to make an impact on our football team right away. And he's going to do so at a position where it's not customary. Defensive tackles coming in as freshmen have a lot of disadvantages that we've talked about over the years. One of them is just youth and coming from high schools that don't have the proper weight programs, et cetera. So they've got to go through that growth process and get in here and start eating the right foods and doing the right workouts and spending all of their time in football with other elite athletes with elite facilities to see those gains, right? And just age, just getting older and putting on that man weight, as they say. But every now and again, you get a freak. You get a guy that comes in, wows everybody, even at a position where it's not customary. You see freshmen come in and impact games right off the bat at skill positions. You'll see it at running back. You'll see it at wide receiver. You'll see it at DB. You can see it at safety. You'll see it occasionally defensive end. Just a 250-pound kid with speed off the edge can make it. Brian Burns did it last year.
Yeah, he could be 218 and still do that.
That's right.
9.5 sacks later, yeah.
Right, it can happen. But you don't traditionally see it in the interior with the big fellas. And to see the way that kid comes in looking and to note what some people are saying about him, all I'm saying, I'm not telling you that kid's going to go win awards and Florida State's defensive line is going to be the best in the country, although certainly is in the preseason conversation with the amount of depth and talent and experience it does have coming back. I'm just saying he doesn't look like a kid who won't contribute. Damn, man.
All right, that's a big hand.
And I thought Josh Ball looked good.
That's a big guy, too, yeah.
That's a real big dude. And he looked shabby before. He doesn't look shabby now. He looks like he's got it together.
The one thing I wonder, and this is pure speculation, not educated at all speculation, but, if you're going to be starting somebody for the first time in their career at left tackle, I know that, there's the motor skills of one side to the other. It may be different, but wouldn't you rather have a Rick Leonard there or try him out there because he's been on the field in situations for live play versus somebody who's making his first ever start at left tackle?
Might very well be that this is the further development in offenses in which you see that the way of viewing the two tackle positions as being inherently very different and one being more important than the other going by the wayside now, because Jimbo will tell you the interior has become a much more important area of the offensive line and guard play and center play. And that's been a conversation over the last few years. I don't know. I don't know if it's just a situation where they feel like Leonard has gotten comfortable in a position and it was a transition for him since it wasn't his natural position and that they don't want to screw up the process.
I mean, I get it. Big Rod's first start was against Miami on a Saturday night, and he was great at left tackle. And we moved Cam to center, and that really solidified that 14 offensive line to go to a place that it hadn't been.
And it does speak to that idea, right, that you don't have to have the guy that you're so sure is going to be the rock off the blind side of your right-handed quarterback. You don't have to have that anymore.
Yeah, and frankly, if you were to tell me that you'd rather have a guy at right tackle with a little bit more experience because it solidifies center to tackle on one half, so you can run to the right side if you need to run that particular direction more often, rather than sporadically placing players,
right.
Okay, I can understand that bit of logic too. It's just, again, the Alabama factor has you wondering, boy, would you rather have somebody out there on the left side with a little bit more experience? But Jimbo's going to call the game to the strengths. That was something that was a big topic yesterday. Whatever he sees is the strength of the team, he's going to, draw up. He's got no time to mess around in September. He's got to call whatever the team tells him is the appropriate thing to call based upon what he sees from talent at offensive line, receiver, running back, etc.
I do think the answer to the question, the rhetorical question you asked, but I'll answer it anyhow, is yes. Yes, you'd rather have more experience over there off that left side. You'd rather have somebody not making their very first start of their college football career against Alabama.
Yeah, you'd like to have Rod Johnson back for another year.
Yeah, the answer is yes to that question. But you may not have an option at this point, not a viable option. Hey, Dante Fowler may or may not have done something pretty awful and been nabbed for it. And I hate this story. We can all revel that it's happening to a Gator. But he is a Lakewood High alum.
Oh, God, with the Lakewood.
Normally, we're sterling individuals.
Oh, so what you're going to do is put Lakewood High above the Florida State rivalry? Is that what it is?
Well, as a former player and alum of Lakewood High School, I can tell you that I've been very proud over the years, the kind of men that have gone forth in this field, whether it be in sports coverage, writing, broadcasting, or certainly on the football field itself, where many a Lakewood man has been prominent, Tom. I just want to pause for a second and say that it's very disappointing to see that he's let us all down. He's let us down. Now, you may look at it differently. As somebody who did not attend Lakewood High School, you may say, well, what's Lakewood have to do with it? He's a bum Gator and a Jag. Who gives a damn?
And a guy who flipped on us in the 11th hour after saying he wasn't going to flip on us on
signing
day.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I would rightfully call him that. That's objectively the right thing to call him.
Here's what I have been calling him for years, which is what everybody in St. Pete and those around Lakewood and people who played with him at Florida call him. An a-hole. Not a great guy. Nobody has ever vouched for that guy as being a decent dude.
But you just wanted him to be, your a-hole of a player.
Well, I wanted to will the Lakewood character upon him and get that thing turned around. I would have thought that he would have reached down deep and figured it out, but he has not, apparently. Now, again, I don't know what's true and what's not true about the most latest development from the Tampa Bay Times, which I'll read from momentarily.
Well, clearly, he wanted to go to Florida because he thought that their postseason prospects would be better moving forward. And, sometimes we just make choices that we regret. And I'm
Poor
sure he does.
choices on the regular from this guy. But gosh, what are the Bucs ever going to do about Jameis Winston? Jacksonville Jaguars defensive end Dante Fowler was arrested last night, in St. Petersburg on misdemeanor charges of battery and mischief. According to Greg Allman of the Tampa Bay Times, Fowler was released from custody this morning. Just a mere 650 bones to be released. And the arrest report said Fowler hit a man at an apartment complex after comments that the man made about Fowler's driving. He allegedly stepped on the man's glasses and threw away his grocery bag into a lake. The Jags have released a statement saying they are aware of that situation. They're gathering more information, and they've been in communication with Dante. And at this time, they don't want to make any more comments until they learn what happened. Now, Allman later noted that Fowler had been previously arrested in March of last year on charges of assault on an officer and resisting arrest. Those charges were eventually dropped, it should be noted. The 22-year-old Fowler is set to enter his third season there with the Jags. And, of course, he missed the entire rookie season with injury. It had nothing to do with off-the-field issues. There you go. There's that. There's that guy.
Just because he's an a-hole and he's been twice accused and arrested for, one time charges dropped, assault, doesn't mean that he's necessarily an aggressive fellow. But
you're beginning to enter that realm of you don't get the benefit of the doubt?
A little bit.
A little bit. That starts to happen a little bit.
Yeah.
When this happens repeatedly.
Well, and because he screwed over Florida State in signing day, I'm apt to believe a lot of crazy things about players.
Well, I don't even know how crazy this is. These seem pretty straightforward, well-described incidents with witnesses. I mean, some of these things don't seem all, out of the blue here.
Come on, man. The fresh fruit was BOGO this week. What are you doing?
Threw the grocery bag into a lake.
Not my cantaloupe.
My man, what are we doing here? Anyhow, there's that situation with Dante Fowler. Although I'm reluctant to go down the road and get into the greater details or speculative details of that situation more than just to read that headline, partly because, A, he plays for the Jags, so it's in-state team, so it warrants our attention regionally. B, he's a Gator. And C, they're counting on him as a starter, and the Jags figure to have a pretty good team this year. That's really the relevance of all that above and beyond
They like the Tennessee Vols of the AFC South.
Just in perpetuity going to be a contender.
They've won the offseason again, haven't they?
Well, Miami is once again well thought of in the Coastal for the ACC.
How many ways can I say?
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The website and click tournaments and follow the rules. You can register and pay online at the same time. Sea Quarters Marina, 501 St. James Avenue, Highway 98, Carabel. Online at seaquartersmarina.com or call them 850-697-8400.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world. Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
Is your truck going to be able to handle all these pavers for the patio?
No problem. The F-150 has got a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body.
Oh. With best-in-class payload, the F-150 can handle the work you need it to.
Remember when I had a high-strength military-grade body?
I don't, actually.
It's always a good time.
Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. On Twitter at J Cameron Show. So do you ever, probably you don't, so let's do this now. You ever look at the various preseason watch lists? I mean, you know the players that, because Florida State will release the names that are on those lists, right?
Yeah, we get those emails as soon as they're ready to go and, the list is finalized. And I'll look at the headline of the email, the subject line, and then from
That's
there
about
I go,
it, right?
all right.
Well, you're like me then, yeah. That's just like even the votes. I pay attention to the votes within the ACC, the Atlantic first place votes, the Coastal first place votes, and projected finish, order of finish. And I'll even look at the player of the year projections. This year it was a no-brainer that people were going to project Lamar Jackson. He's your reigning Heisman Trophy winner. It makes sense to do so. But, yeah, typically beyond those rankings and votes, I don't really pay attention to a lot of these things. But I got sent a link to an article, and it was about the Dodd Trophy. And so I read it because I was curious. And you can't help but think, I don't know. Go back. Maybe we could put Matthew on this. We'll have him do a little research here. Can we find out who was on the 2016 preseason watch list for the Dodd Trophy? If you don't know, the Dodd Trophy, and I'm going to give you the 2017 list, it's the Coach of the Year Foundation and a Chick-fil-A Bowl, Peach Bowl kind of affiliation. And where they send out, they have a preseason watch list for coaches. So we have, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12, SEC, and American conferences. Do you have that 2016?
Yes.
Can you name the people on that list?
Sure. The ever-boring Paul
Okay,
Chryst.
how about this?
Okay.
You have I don't need 2017. I've got that in front of me. Okay.
2016.
All right. Is Jimbo on it?
Yes.
All right. That's interesting. Because he's not on the 2017 list. I'll just get straight to the point. And when you read about what it is, the Dodd Trophy, college football's most coveted coaching award, celebrates the head coach of a team who enjoys success on the gridiron while also stressing the importance of scholarship, leadership, and integrity. 3 pillars of legendary coach Bobby Dodd. The watch list was created through a selection process by which the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Foundation and Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl members take into consideration each program's graduation rate, commitment to service, charity in the community, projected success on the field, and academic progress rate, APR. So you figure, given that those are the standards and the watch list is sizable, and some of the names on the watch list that are included raise an eyebrow, that at the very bare minimum that Jimbo Fisher would be on the watch list, the preseason watch list. I'm not saying he has to win it, but we're sensitive to this around here because, he has one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football and can't win Coach of the Year around here.
Yes.
Ever.
And it won 29 straight and put 29 into the league and the NFL draft at least in 3 years.
But you could be, you could be Paul Johnson or you could be Cutcliffe and win those awards.
Well, sure. They went 9-3.
But the award this year has Paul Chryst, your favorite.
Oh, yeah. Real interesting guy.
James Franklin, Justin Fuente, Mike Gundy, Jim Harbaugh, Clay Helton at Southern Cal, Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech. Butch Jones at Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
See where I'm going here? Butch Jones.
Paul
really.
Johnson, Butch Jones. That's a killer 1-2.
Gus Malzahn. Jim McElwain. Urban Meyer. Chris Peterson. Mark Richt. Nick Saban. David Shaw. Bill Schneider. Dabo Swinney. Kyle Whittingham.
Well, Malzahn should be on that list because, Colin Cowherd was right. The moment that Malzahn arrived into the SEC West, that signaled the end of Nick Saban's reign. And that's what's happened.
Of the 19 coaches on the watch list, 5 are previous award winners. That includes Bill Snyder, won it in 1998. He also won it in 2012. Chris Peterson, who won it in 2010. Paul Johnson back in 2004. Dabo Swinney, 2011. Nick Saban, 2014. No, not even a nomination. Not even on the watch list. That's curious.
Curious indeed. Now, they will release more watch lists, Jeff, as the fall progresses.
Okay.
In case anybody moves up and down the quote-unquote Dodd Trophy power rankings. But, yes.
I find it interesting. I don't know. I haven't done enough background checking to find out if this is a annual snubbing. Because, as you say, last year Jimbo was on the watch list.
That's correct.
And I'd have to go back a ways and find out exactly how this works. It just seems that it would be odd he would not be on that list going into this year, given that, again, there's some coaches on this list. Like, if you were going to say, gosh, maybe they hold it against him. Maybe they still feel like he handled the Jameis situation poorly. Maybe that goes into their thinking. Well, Urban Meyer's on the list. Florida was breaking records while he was there for arrests.
And Jimbo was
arrests.
Jimbo was on the list last year, so
right.
you would think,
so you would think that's not it.
If there was a hatchet, it would be long since buried. Yes.
Right. But I'm serious about that part of it, though. I find this odd. I don't really care about the Dodd Trophy, and I doubt these coaches do. But I am curious. I mean, when you're making out the list, it just seems like one more snub for a guy that's had an awful lot of success.
Well, and you want to make it a community outreach thing?
I was going to say, we let off the show with that yet again.
Yeah, I believe it's now $4.5 million has been raised for Fanconi anemia. So, what percentage of that is Jimbo Fisher and what he's done for the rare disease? Please.
In addition, we're forever reading stories where they're building houses and doing all the other stuff. We just got done reading that in this offseason and documenting all that stuff. So, for people who get frustrated by that situation and the consistency with which we see those kinds of snubs, here you go. Add this to your list. This will piss you off.
It does kind of bother me, I have to say.
Because you know what it does? It causes you to you want to do more research because you want to know what's at the root of it. Maybe it's not what we think it is, but initially, it's hard not to think it's exactly what we think it is.
Well, if he's on the list last year, and this year you're going to have Paul Johnson on the list and McElwain and Butch Jones, Mark Richt. I mean, how many coaches?
Gus Malzahn?
Yes, another coach he's beaten head-to-head.
Well, right, and on-the-field success does matter. That's part of the award. So, right, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, you would of course raise an eyebrow. There's some guys on here you'd say, really? He made the list, huh? Okay. But even if you remove that, if you say, okay, well, let's say there's so much more to this award than on-the-field success, that's just one of 3, I think, elements they're looking at.
But there's also a partnership element with Atlanta and the Peach Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So, we are in the kickoff game. Might you want to have both coaches?
Well, Nick Saban is on the list, Tom. Don't worry about that.
Might you want to have both coaches?
I'm just saying, don't you worry. Nick is on that list.
In the marquee kickoff game, maybe be on that list just so
Nick is on the list.
Yeah. He counts for 2, I guess.
True.
It's Saban light, so it's the same thing.
Clay Helton's on the list. He played in that game a year ago. Or was that game in Dallas?
That game, I think, was the Cowboy.
When Southern Cal beat Southern Cal got beat by 105 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that was out in Dallas, yeah.
We'll double-check it. Anyhow, he's on the list. He is on the list.
Sure.
If you're wondering,
everybody's on the list.
He's on the list.
Yeah.
But Butch Jones.
Dino Babers is on the list.
Great coach.
Yeah.
Good guy. Talked to him up there at the ACC meetings. He's on the list.
Is he? No. Is that real?
That is real.
Dino's on the list?
No. I talked to him.
Oh, okay.
Up at the ACC.
You really talked to him.
I really talked to him at the ACC meetings. He's not really on the list.
Jesus, Dino Babers on the list.
But there's some other guys that. Hey, those East Division triumphs went a long way for Jim McElwain. He's on the list.
He can have any shark he wants.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Yo, you better give me that.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. How do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes includes dealer preparation charge.
TNT Supercenter is your official dealer for Mahindra tractors. They have the Mahindra 4540 utility tractor for only $11,995. It has a 3-point lift capacity of over 3,500 pounds and Mahindra's 41 horsepower Tier 4 compliant eco-friendly diesel engine with MCRD technology. MCRD stands for Mahindra's Common Rail Diesel Technology, allowing a Mahindra tractor to pass strict emission standards without the use of a diesel particulate filter. Bottom line to you, less maintenance, less downtime, and less cost. TNT and the Mahindra 4540 tractor, making the competition green with envy.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Tallahassee will be overrun with potential future Seminoles today as the Jimbo Fisher camp begins. It'll be a star-studded affair. Last night was also a star-studded affair, all about raising money for the Lift for Life, where the Florida State football team was hoping to raise at least $5,000 for Fanconi anemia. Baseball wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline. The Yankees pick up Todd Frazier from the White Sox, while J.D. Martinez heads to the Diamondbacks from Detroit for a trio of minor leaguers. Dallas Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones says he has spoken to Ezekiel Elliott since the running back's involvement in an incident in a bar Sunday. This comes in the wake of his potential suspension by the league from a domestic violence investigation he is also involved in. And suspended Baylor defensive back Trayvon Blanchard is suspended indefinitely from the team. Now he's under investigation and accusation because of his arrest after an alleged incident involving his girlfriend.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
My friend, 37 days until the start of college football.
Ooh, that is a wholly manageable number.
37 days. You want to do the old how you feeling today sort of thing. 5 weeks and 3 days or 2 days. Or do you want to go 37 days sounds better than 5 weeks?
Probably the 37.
I think 37 sounds, yeah.
Because that feels like a month.
And if some NFL camps got started today, Tom.
Wait, they did?
Yes.
Well, I suppose they did.
Yeah. It's time to get it on.
I mean, if you say fewer than 6 weeks, too, that feels pretty good. Because
saying fewer than 6 weeks sounds pretty good, but if you say 5 weeks, yeah. So Bears, Cowboys, rookies reported today. And I think, I got to double check this time. I think in the coming days, they're basically all coming into camp. It's time to get it on.
Well, I would think, the Hall of Fame game, whoever those two combatants are, those camps are going to open up pretty soon.
Man.
So what you're saying is we're a high ankle sprain away. 37 days. There it is.
Well, what's today's date? The 19th
of July.
Yeah. So July 24th, the signing period ends for transition players and outstanding tenders and all that stuff. Basically after that date, after the 10th weekend of the regular season, things can't get done. The prior club has exclusive negotiating rights. So that's it. And this is any movement or anything like that. Hall of Fame game is August the 3rd.
Well, damn.
The Hall of Fame game is between Arizona and Dallas, and it is August the 3rd. It's the 19th of July. That's now. We're about to watch football.
We're about to watch Hard Knocks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You're damn right.
Yeah, that's right.
You are right.
Something damn right.
How great is that, huh? Well, I was against it. I was not in favor of the Bucs welcoming in Hard Knocks, even though that is my team, and obviously we're going to be watching intently, but I just feel like all that stuff, I don't know, maybe I've been jaded, poisoned by the situation with Showtime here, and it's not the Showtime cameras that led to Florida State's shaky start to the season. It just feels like not a lot of good can come out of it.
I hear you with that. And I just hope that, whenever they get to the obligatory Jameis vignettes.
There'll be like 3, by the way.
Yes. But, I just need that to present well. Just present well. I mean, he invited you into his off-season workouts. And that, to me, that's an entertaining thing about the month of August. The thing I'm looking most forward to in August, thinking about this today driving in, it's the open practice. Fan day happens, and I won't be going to that, but it's later in the day on fan day.
You're going to miss fan day, are you, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to race into the Civic Center with your poster?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm glad those days are past. Until we work for the flagship again, if we ever do.
Then you can't wait to embrace fan day.
Sure.
Woo!
But it's that open practice and getting to see some of these freshmen in action. I love seeing the new guys and what they bring.
Especially if we're describing them as Marvin Wilson was described.
Yes, precisely. And how about some of these young receivers, too? Because we might be leaning on them at least for, 15 to 20 catches this year.
How did you feel at the end of yesterday's show as we wrapped it up? I was driving home, and I was thinking back on what we had talked about, and a lot of yesterday's show had to do with sort of the feelings we have going into camp. And camp's right around the corner, fresh off of the ACC kickoff. We had audio again from Jimbo Fisher, and that's on the mind right now. It's almost all-consuming because, frankly, NBA summer leagues can go to hell. They're useless. They always have been, and I won't talk about them. And I also refuse to talk about, this ridiculous sham of a fight that people want to talk about on a daily basis as well between two egomaniac. Just anyhow, I'm not going to get into the fight. So it's hard because you then get locked in on baseball, and in the market we're in, and I love baseball, and I'm fine, and I'm consuming a ton of baseball right now. The Pirates won again last night. It's become a fun thing watching this team. It does remind me, as an aside, of what happened with your team. Was it 3 years ago when they were left for dead and they fought and they found themselves in an interesting position? You fell in love with that group because outmanned to some degree, they played hard, and they put themselves in a position to be in a conversation.
Yeah, 14 was a year that they were, upwardly trending. And by the end of the year, you said, okay, well, 15 might be better than people expect, and then they go win the National League.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay, so this team, and again, the reason I'm so consumed by baseball right now, no Jung Ho Gong, no Starling Marte, your second best pitcher who's emerging now as your best pitcher ended up having a cancer scare and missing a bunch of time. And then all of a sudden, they just started winning games and finding ways to win games late. And just you're watching, you're like, well, they're not going to pack it in. They were like 10 games under 500. They're 2 games under 500. They're there in the wild card race. It gets fun.
Yeah, which is like on the doorstep of the Central this year. You picked a good year.
We did pick a good year. We did. I mean, because the Brewers are in first, and we have a 4-game set with them, and we won the first 2 games of the 4-game set and came back from down 3-0 last night. So
the Central's ass.
That's
so,
right.
You win 88 to 90 games. You never know.
You might win it. That's true. Yeah. So, I mean.
See, I checked out of baseball. I'm done.
I'm good. But your team's a disaster. It's a dumpster fire.
I got trade deals with China. So I'm looking forward to the Open this week. That's what I'm ready for tomorrow morning.
I was going to bring it up. Save it.
Oh, sorry.
We'll get there.
We'll be bright and early.
I want to get back to this consuming this all in on football. And also, it would be silly not to mention, first of all, my immersion into baseball, I know, doesn't translate for 3 hours on the air of this show. You can't do it. So that's fine that I go home and I have baseball every night and other people do or don't, whatever. It doesn't translate on the show, not here. If we were in a market where they had baseball, it would make more sense. But we're this close to football, and that is beloved here without question. And it's figuring to be a very interesting season, as I've said time and again this summer, not just in the ACC, but throughout college football, and, of course, with Florida State specifically. But when we got done talking yesterday, I was thinking about the kind of the segment breakdowns we were having, the discussions we were having. And I was wondering if that was taken as, oh, well, now I'm more nervous or more excited or negatively or positively. Did that come across? I mean, I didn't have an intention one way or the other when the conversation began, other than just to speak openly and honestly about what we're thinking with each of these kids, each of these segments, and the things we want to see get better, things we worry will be worse. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I kind of talked myself into thinking that outside of what are concerns that every team has. I mean, there's not a team that comes into a season, and that includes Alabama, that is devoid of a segment on their team that they're a little worried about, or they're a little thin, or not as talented as they were a year ago, or whatever it may be, graduation, NFL draft. You have losses. That's the beauty of college football. It happens. we're probably in as good a position as we've been in since prior to 2013. And even 2013, again, we knew that team was loaded. They still had to go out and do it, and you didn't know Jameis. Now, he turned out to be a freak, and we loved what we saw from him that year in the spring game, and we kind of opened our eyes and thought, well, if that's anything like he's going to play in a real game, my goodness. And then Pitt happened, and we all knew it's go time. Holy moly, we got us a stud. Well, that guy, he's not coming through those doors anytime soon, so you're going to have these little pockets of concerns. But by and large, when we talked it through yesterday, I kind of came away from that conversation thinking, all right, I get why people think they're certainly a top 5 team. I'm still reluctant to really go all in on the idea that that's the best team in the country with the concerns we have on the offensive line and the need for Nooney Murray to step up and be the guy. I have to see him do that. Doesn't mean he won't, but I need to see it. So, yeah, I'm a little suspect there. Other than that, though, that's not a lot of concerns.
No, and that's why preseason polls should be kind to us, because that's what they are.
They're going to be.
They're confidence index polls. They're not about what you've done. They're not by merit at all. It's just, how does the roster look? What does your returning team
starters?
look?
What's your schedule look like? Schedule matters.
That's why in 12 we were a favorite for the national title, because we had everything returning. Upperclassmen across the board. You had a senior quarterback who was capable from a dual threat standpoint of putting up eye-popping numbers.
Yeah, he got worse. He didn't get better.
But that 2012 game against Clemson is what, by and large, people thought E.J. Manuel was going to be for the season, and that's why there was a lot of hope for what that season was going to be. So, yeah, I hear you. I've loved the shows these last couple of days because sometimes we're talking and sometimes we are fans. Sometimes we are alum of Florida State, and this is the kind of talk that I crave this part of the year. So, I agree. I do go back and forth, though, because the thing about 2013, and Jimbo said it in the years following, it's the team that's going to ruin every other team. Because you weren't just playing at a championship level. You were playing at an all-time level.
You were dominating people in really unhealthy ways. It was embarrassing.
You're talking about consensus, a top 5 college football team ever. We always talked about the Nebraska comparison from that year in the 90s, and are we on that? I think 97?
97.
Yeah, okay. Are we on that level? And, man, that's some highbrow talk, but it was warranted. And the problem is that most championship teams,
have a game or two that struggle, I
mean, look at Clemson last year.
Oh, well, time and again, I keep doing that. I keep going back to the fact that they, outside of a missed chip shot field goal against NC State, they lose that game at home. The call in the second half of the game here, a couple of calls. You have the spearing, whatever you want to call it, targeting, and then you have also the block. So those 2 calls bails Clemson out here in Tallahassee. You have some games early. The Auburn game where Dabo coached terribly, and they escaped there. And then they did lose to Pitt. It is. Most teams do have at least a game or 2. Clemson had more than that, where you kind of go,
Put it this way. I'm not saying we were wrong for the way we covered the 2014 team because they were eminently frustrating. But if you flip those 2 seasons, and the 2014 team was the first one we were exposed to.
Right.
That team would be beloved because it never gave up, and that would be the only thing you talked about.
They kept finding ways to win.
Given that it was in the shadow of 2013.
We're ass-kicking Central.
Right. You feel disappointed about an undefeated regular season.
But also they came out listless so many times. They came out and buried themselves only to have Jameis bail them out, and it was just the defense had checked out. Guys were thinking about their pro careers. That was a tough team to kind of like.
I hear you. It's impossible to flip them given, the attitude of that team had a lot to do with winning the national title in 2013. But if that type of season was the first one you saw before the real run that we went on in 2013, we would have liked that team a whole lot more because that would have been our first taste of that level of success. The problem is 2013 was just so far beyond what is normal of a championship run. I mean, I get it. 99, they went wire to wire, but you were there. You were here. You were covering it.
Yeah, I was covering that.
It didn't look like 2013, did it? Week in and week out, and that was a weaker ACC they were playing.
Yeah. No, it didn't look like that week in and week out. They were great, though. I mean, that was a great all-time team. But, yeah, no, they weren't as dominant, at least on a week-to-week basis, comparatively.
Most championship teams, they have warts. And the question is if it's you can't lose a couple of players health-wise to a position. I mean, hell, even 2013 was like that. offensive line. You couldn't have lost 2 players, or else you would have been in serious trouble. But most of them, they work around some problems that they have. We just happen to have a flawless team.
By the way, I wanted to do this before we went to break because you brought it up. The 99 team that goes on to beat Virginia Tech in the national championship game I was at in the Superdome there in New Orleans, in which Michael Vick probably had the performance that it's in the conversation along with Vince's performance for Texas against Southern Cal. That guy almost single-handedly won Virginia Tech a national title and kept them in a game that they had no business when you go man for man across the line being in. Herculean effort. But that team, just to remind everybody, the team that went wire to wire, they were the first ever team to go wire to wire. Won by scores of 41-7, 41-35 against Georgia Tech, 6-point game there. Can still remember the final drive there. 42-11 NC State, 42-10 against North Carolina, 51-23 against Duke. Beat Miami 31-21. 33-10 over Wake. 3.17-14 win at Clemson. At Virginia 35-10, 49-10 against Maryland. 30-23 against Florida. Virginia Tech 46-29. So no, not from a score-to-score standpoint. Florida State's team in 2013 that won the national title had a relatively close game for a half against BC. And then the national championship game.
Right.
That's it.
And even then,
that's it.
Even then, going into the halftime locker room, the way that half ended, you knew we were going to win that thing going away. It was the first.
Oh, you mean the BC game?
Yeah, it was the first. Yeah. Oh God, no, not the national
I was going to
title
say
game.
no, sir. Yeah.
That was in doubt. That was absolutely in doubt
to the last second. Yes.
Because even when they ran the throwback play at the end with all Auburn's mystique and their last second magic, you're thinking, no.
They could do something crazy
Don't
here.
pull some Georgia nonsense on us with the tip pass that ends up in a kid's hands.
We're up against it. Can you do it? FSU Pitt 2013. Remember the final there?
Oh, God, no. 52-10.
41-13.
Yeah.
Beat Nevada, whom I forgot for a moment that we played, 62-7. Beat Bethune-Cookman 54-6. The BC game, the aforementioned BC
48-34.
You do get that one.
All right.
Nicely done.
All right.
Ding, ding, ding. Corey Clark's famed Maryland could be a problem.
63-0?
That's correct.
Ooh, all right.
At Clemson game, you and I have on the sideline pictures from
51-14.
That's correct.
All right.
That's right. 51-14. You're on a roll here. NC State.
Oh, God. 59-21.
49-17, and they
Okay.
were completely overwhelmed in the first quarter. I think it was 35-0.
Yeah,
it was insane.
Coker
we were laughing.
played the entire second half, didn't he?
All I remember is that we were in the press box giggling like, "Are you looking at this? These poor bastards don't want to be out here."
I left early.
Yeah. Miami 41-14. We didn't even play well.
I would have gotten that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wake Forest.
Oh, we had like 2 or 3 defensive touchdowns.
So
in that game.
hold on. This is the clue. Wake Forest Cuse, exact same score, back-to-back weeks.
Oh, shoot.
And an oddity at that.
52-9.
Nice try. 59-3.
Oh, 59-3.
We won
Okay.
back-to-back weeks, 59-3. Poor Idaho. Remember
that was 80.
Yes.
80-0?
80-14.
80-14.
I wish it was 80-0. 80-14, and the handshake is everything.
Yeah, the Petrino handshake.
Yeah, the handshake is everything. 37-7 against Florida. Should have been a shutout. 37-7 against Florida.
Yeah.
45-7 against Duke.
Yeah, that was the birth of the dead fish.
Yeah, the dead fish. He was really frustrated by something other than, I don't know, just the listless nature of his
Jimbo
offense.
side-eye. What in the world?
What's wrong with you, buddy?
I would think you have all the answers now, David, right?
34-31, obviously, in the national title game. Just fun.
I got 3 or 4 of them.
456-105, your final score.
And that's, okay, the 99 team was regarded as completely dominant, wire to wire.
And they, and they were great, but they weren't 456 to 105.
So forgive us if there are some close games this year and we lose a game on the way to a playoff.
Yeah, and you can go game by game to look at the lines. You know how we always talk about Vegas? If you're a gambler, all right, sorry, I'm speaking to the degenerates out there, or a young man who's just thinking about getting into gambling. Come along for the ride, kids. You got to get Vegas early before they figure out just how badass teams they already know are good really are. Like, they knew that we were good, but it took them a few games before they're like, oh, no.
Well, they couldn't set a line big enough for
well,
us.
we have been setting this far too low. Yeah, so it's funny. You look at the you know what the spread against Maryland was? What do you think the spread against Maryland? I just got done telling you
this is the Corey Clark special.
This is 63-0. Florida State leads the all-time series against Maryland 21-2.
Yeah.
What do you think the spread was?
31.5.
17.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dumbass Vegas, you got to go. Got to get in there early.
Yeah.
that was easy money.
They had Dion Long and what's his name?
Easy money. That's when Scott Van Pelt decided to hate me.
For no, he came on expecting to get made fun of,
and
you're trying to have regular discourse with the guy.
It was crazy.
He's an interesting person.
So that was that. What are you gonna do? It's the Jeff Cameron Show. Hang in there.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Public utility. Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world. Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
used by businesses of all sizes. ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Tallahassee will be overrun with potential future Seminoles today as the Jimbo Fisher camp begins. It'll be a star-studded affair. Last night was also a star-studded affair, all about raising money for the Lift for Life, where the Florida State football team was hoping to raise at least $5,000 for Fanconi anemia. Baseball wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline. The Yankees pick up Todd Frazier from the White Sox, while J.D. Martinez heads to the Diamondbacks from Detroit for a trio of minor leaguers. Dallas Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones says he has spoken to Ezekiel Elliott since the running back's involvement in an incident in a bar Sunday. This comes in the wake of his potential suspension by the league from a domestic violence investigation he is also involved in. And suspended Baylor defensive back Trayvon Blanchard is suspended indefinitely from the team. Now he's under investigation and accusation because of his arrest after an alleged incident involving his girlfriend.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online at ESPNTallahassee.com. Thanks for listening. Email the show if you want to, CCS at 979ESPNRadio.com. If you missed portions of the show, any part of the show for that matter, you can always go back, get caught up. The show is posted upon its conclusion every evening, all 3 hours. Hang in there. It's both on iTunes and in our own audio vault, also on YouTube. It's brought to you with limited commercial interruption thanks to our podcast sponsor, CarltonDean.com. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. WTSM app works well. And as I said, YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. So much talk of the season. Should note 3-1 Alabama, Ohio State 15-2, Southern Cal 15-2, Florida State 8-1, Oklahoma 10-1. Your odds.
So Southern Cal has a bit more of an edge, says Vegas. Not much. 15-2, 16. Yeah. 8-1 is 16-2. So.
Sure. Yeah. Not much. That's other teams. Really, if I had just said to you, name, 5 teams that you think could win the national title, I think that's your list. Alabama, Ohio State, Florida State, Oklahoma, and I think you might say Southern Cal with the way that they played in the second half of the season, and once they made the quarterback change, really, after week, was it 3? So from that point on, they were really good.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if I was at a different market and I was looking at Florida State, I'd say, man, that schedule's brutal. Can they survive that? Because we do that so often with other teams. And Notre Dame comes to mind quite often because they schedule like crazy, given that they only play 5 ACC games. Before that, it was 5 Big East games.
It is crazy. There's no way.
There's Stanford and USC on the schedule. Michigan at one point was on the schedule. So, you look at that group and you'd say, whoa, well, if Notre Dame can somehow come out of that 10-2 even.
Oh, well, you want to do that? Let's do this. We haven't looked at Notre Dame this year because they're largely irrelevant in college football.
Yes.
But, let's see. They play Georgia again this year. But, remember their annual tilt with Michigan State. If Michigan State is indeed, moving in the wrong direction, the way that last year's indicators might say, then that's not what it was. But they played Temple, does Notre Dame. Then they played Georgia. Then it's Boston College, Michigan State, Miami of Ohio, at North Carolina. Southern Cal, NC State, Wake, Miami plays Notre Dame again this year. Navy and Stanford. Not Murderer's Row this year like it traditionally is. It's a good schedule. That's a good schedule, but it's not what you would ordinarily look at and go, oh, goodness.
No, it's got a lot of name brand teams on there, though, and you wouldn't hesitaate to put Notre Dame at, 8.5 wins in the win total? That was something from yesterday as well. I wouldn't be surprised, given where Notre Dame is at this moment, that if 9-3, 8-4 is somewhere in that cutoff.
Yeah, I'm going over 8. I'm gonna give them Temple's a win, BC's a win, Michigan State's a win, Miami of Ohio's a win. They'll split with North Carolina, NC State. That's 5. Wake is 6. Navy is 7. Stanford is toss-up. Yeah, that's a tough call. It's a good number, Tom.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're in mid-season form, buddy.
Well, I'm like De Niro in Goodfellas, or Casino, rather.
They could win both. They could beat North Carolina and NC State, and at which point there's your 9.
But then all of a sudden, Miami, that's a concern.
It's at Miami.
Yeah, with that defense.
And it's at Miami late in the year. They will have figured out quarterback.
Yeah, so pencil that in as an L for Notre Dame.
We think so. Are we all just going to jump on that Coastal Division championship for Miami?
No.
Gives you the right to lose twice to Florida State in the same season.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because then next year.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. We're not doing that again.
But Fuente being in that division, let's see what he's got. He's already got more of his players at other positions. He didn't expect to lose quarterback, but he has a young kid that they like. ESPN top 300 recruit. So what does he do in that type of year? We already know he's a good coach, but can he coach in this division, which is kind of open for business, and scratch out a win or two that you don't expect?
Well, I'll go ahead and plug our friend David Hale, who you just heard from on Monday's show. He talked about ACC quarterback play. I actually asked him about it up there at the ACC meetings. I'm pretty sure I get credit for the genesis of this article that came out yesterday, because we talked specifically about quarterbacks and whether or not the ACC would regress, because last year was the year of the quarterback. On a day in which Mitch Trubisky just signed with Chicago officially, a day that Chicago fans probably fell to their knees and wept, thinking back that they actually moved up to get Mitch Trubisky.
One spot.
Sweet Jesus, Chicago. What in the world are you doing? But anyhow, that happened. But he was a very, very good college quarterback indeed, and so there was that. And, of course, Deshaun Watson was arguably the best player in all of college football, and he played quarterback for Clemson. So when you lose two guys like that have been so productive, you can see why people think that it'll take a step back. But there is still an awful lot of talent in the conference at the position. In particular, Daniel Jones from Duke, who, if he didn't play for Duke, you'd talk more about him.
Something really quick that I would always say, and I heard coaches say it obviously last week at the ACC kickoff, something the ACC should champion for a long, long time is we had the Heisman winner, the Heisman runner-up, and the number 2 overall pick in the draft, who was neither of the two previously mentioned players. So
yeah, and the national champion. And
yeah, but from a quarterback standpoint, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's crazy.
You got the Heisman's a quarterback, the runner-up is a quarterback, and a separate quarterback altogether from those two is the guy who went number 2 overall in the NFL draft.
The perception of why the league would take a big step back is because Miami has to replace Brad Kaya, but, I never thought Brad Kaya was any good. Never won a meaningful game in his career. Obviously, Clemson and Deshaun Watson won lots of meaningful games, including the national championship. So, yes, you will take a step back there. But Virginia Tech and North Carolina are also both replacing their quarterbacks. So you would say that it stands to reason we'll take a step back from overall quarterback play. Not that the league is sans good quarterback play. They're still out there. The reigning Heisman Trophy winner is returning. DeAndre Francois is returning. Like I just said, Duke's got good quarterback play. And maybe one of the younger guys that is on the list of competitors, if you will, at Miami will be good. Eric Dungy, guys like that at Syracuse, they're still good quarterbacks in this league.
Well, there's still offenses too that provide a punch and they can run up some of those numbers. I mean, obviously Babers up at Syracuse is going to run a breakneck speed, and we all know what Fedora does out in North Carolina. So you can mask that a little bit from a prestige standpoint with numbers, and you can pad some numbers. But there is no doubt though that this league, it's just funny. I'm interested to see how the arguments go with the national pundits. It's always funny. Like, you watch the way Jameis was covered, and then you want to see how the next one after him, who is considered, a bipolar or a polarizing athlete, how are they going to be covered? Are they going to be talked about the same way that Jameis was? Okay, now that the ACC is likely going to be a league this year defined by its defensive lines, are the national pundits going to give it the same credit that they did the SEC? When it was hard-nosed, defensive-laden, boring 24-17 style football with, not that much offense to speak of? Or are they going to say that the ACC as a conference has regressed and not talk about how good those defenses are?
Well, I think, first of all, there are plenty of out-of-conference games that help add validity to the burgeoning reputation of a league that is thumping its chest currently, right? You have those opportunities. Either you win them or you don't. I mean, it really comes down to that. If you don't win those out-of-conference games, you don't get the love. And because the ACC finally did start to win those out-of-conference games head-to-head, and because the SEC stumbled in some other games that were outside of the ACC, for example, LSU to Wisconsin, just to name one. Yeah, I mean, that helped. The SEC's decline, poor quarterback play, with great quarterback play in the ACC and head-to-head wins, changed the perception and rightfully gave the love towards the ACC. People nationally now are saying, well, let's slow our roll, because the ACC walked into their meetings from the commissioner on down and said, get a load of us. Man, are we good looking. Lost a lot of weight, getting it together. The weave has never been better. Ladies, take a new look. And people want to see now, can you sustain that? I don't think so. I don't think the ACC will sustain the excellence from a year ago this year. Do I think it will remain largely in the conversation for the next 3 to 4 years as one of the best 2 or 3 Power 5 conferences? Yes, the Big 12 is way down. I mean, that Big 12 Media Week is going on now, and the whole conversation is there is, what do we have to do to stop being a-holes? We look ridiculous. That if you look at the talking heads, the way that they discuss the Big 12, and even sort of the coaches come in there with their hands up, like, good Lord, I know Baylor's in our conference. I'm sorry.
Well, even Herman said, I'm not here as a coach of the Big 12. I'm here as coach of Texas. Well, how about that for some isolationism?
Well, Texas has always had that.
I'm sure the boosters love it, but
Texas has always had that, both within the conference and the country.
And historically speaking,
Texas is like middle fingers, y'all, and we got guns. So, I mean, that's fine. That's the way they are. But it'll be funny because when you think of the Big 12 now, and you go Baylor and Iowa State and Kansas,
Sam Houston,
and TCU and Texas Tech and West Virginia, you kind of go, yeah, that's not very good. The person that gets the pass is the one that rightfully should, and that's Oklahoma. I suppose Oklahoma State should too, but Oklahoma is the one.
The $1 million mullet.
Everybody else is like, yeah, don't think much of you.
Okay, stepping outside the day-to-day for a second and stepping into the office for the JCS PR firm, would you have advised Swafford on down to do what they did last week at the ACC in terms of boasting?
I would have boasted. I would have noted, and certainly the talking points were laid out, right? All of the coaches were very aware of the platitudes. They understood what was accomplished by this league. And because they're in the geographic footprint, by and large, especially the teams that wave the flag, whether that be Virginia Tech, Florida State, Clemson, Louisville, Miami hopes to someday, all of those programs are in the South. And yes, you're having to compete against the SEC, and you had it shoved down your throat forevermore. So, sure. It's your time to shine a little bit there. Would I have been as verbose? I don't know. I mean, knowing what we were losing at quarterback, we'll see. I think the point is, and again, we're getting sucked into that nonsense, right? That tomfoolery of rooting for the rest of your conference, which is really the thing that we point at SEC folk and laugh at.
Agreed, but there is a marketing aspect in how that can affect your dollars.
That is true.
I'd like to come at it from the dollars perspective. I know that $10 a month, when it comes to helping out the fields and not buying a pair of new shoes,
tilling the
land, that may make a difference. But I'm talking about the dollar figures that are large and that come with branding. It helps you in recruiting.
I don't disagree. You're right. You got to do that. And you've got an influx of really talented kids again, and I got you.
We got to hire that guy from Virginia Tech who's the handler for Fuente.
Well, ain't nobody happier about his job than that dude.
He's got to be on our branding team.
He's on whatever team I put together ever if it has to deal with the public and the press. We got to fill the people in. There's a guy, I don't want to make him a star, but he should be one. The guy that handles Fuente for Virginia Tech is happier to do that job than anybody's ever been doing any job. I mean, that he wakes up, all right, another gift. I get to do this again today. I get to walk around with Coach Fuente and introduce him to the media guy he's going to be talking to and not see again until this same time next year. What a joy.
He's half part, young up-and-coming politician.
Oh, yeah.
And the other half is McConaughey's character in Eastbound and Down.
Oh,
the
it's
scout.
unbelievable.
That's it. That's who that guy is.
In shape, shirt tucked in, hair slicked back, cup of coffee in his hand. Can't wait to meet you.
Low
Hand
handshake.
extended.
You want to get him on right now?
It's awesome.
Let's get him on right now.
We were sitting there ready to have Coach Fuente on, and he walked over and said, you guys still want Coach Fuente? And we're like, yeah. Well, hold on. Let me get him right now. He's ready to go. Oh, okay, buddy. That's cool. We'll talk to him. All right. You're going to talk to Coach Fuente.
That's a great idea.
That's good. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Coach Fuente.
Here he is, guys.
Coach, right here. These guys, young men from Tallahassee, Florida, want to talk to you. Guys, Coach Fuente. Okay. Coach, how are you?
Sorry about
So,
that.
yeah.
He cares about the lunch pail in this
He
university.
loves the hell out of some Virginia. Good on him, though. Good on him. He's actually, the antithesis of what you get when you go up to Clemson, South Carolina, and ask for anything as a member of the press.
You want photog passes?
What are we doing? I wanted to go back through this. I just want to do this. Conference by conference, we were doing that and having fun with the with the teams and projections and all that. You asked the question about whether or not the ACC will live up to it. Not to what they did a year ago, quite simply. No, I don't think so. Yesterday's show, I said, you take the over-under on Florida football winning 8 or more games. And when I go through their schedule the way we just did Notre Dame's, I keep coming back to, I think I'm going to take Florida on the over there.
It's probable, but that Michigan game is really, really important at swinging the balance there one way or the other.
Okay, so Michigan's the first game, and everybody's got their eyes on that as the warm-up act to the real game that night. But after you get done with that game, it's Northern Colorado. Then they host Tennessee. You trust Tennessee yet?
I mean they beat them last year.
Yeah, they did. They got way down, came all the way back. It served them no good the rest of the way, but they did win that game. You think they go in the swamp and win that game? Think Butch Jones guides them into the swamp and pulls out a victory?
The mystique is gone for the mighty University of Florida. You got to find 4 losses in these 12 to get a push.
Well, it ain't going to be Kentucky because it hasn't happened in more than a quarter century, so I'm not picking them to lose to Kentucky. I suppose at some point they should. Vanderbilt? No. So you have Kentucky and Vanderbilt back-to-back weeks if you're Florida, all before you have to host LSU.
Yeah, as far as conference schedules go, that's pretty favorable.
That works out pretty well. I don't believe in Kevin Sumlin. I don't believe in Texas A&M. Never have, never will. Roll my eyes at that game. That's 3 straight home games for Florida, and I think they're going to win all of them. Georgia's over in Jacksonville. This is supposed to be the year of Georgia. Fine. Give it to Georgia. Give Michigan the Michigan win. Give Florida State the Florida State win. Who else is beating Florida?
It's either LSU or Tennessee, and then you're at a push.
Well, and Florida's hosting both those football games.
There's a really weird bloodlust building between LSU and Florida. Obviously, it was over the postponement of the game. But that's why that game, I don't just put it in ink as a W for Florida over LSU.
Florida's done some bitching of LSU in those moments, though. Remember the game where they just ran the ball repeatedly, like 20-something times in a row against an LSU team that was thought to be much better?
I do indeed. Yes.
Ran it down their throat?
Yes, I remember that game.
I'm just telling you, man, it's hard to put your trust in LSU.
I think it's a fairly good bet, to take the over. It's just I could see a push happening.
Taking the Mighty Gators all day long, Tom Lang. I'm
Oh,
getting
geez,
my money.
the Mighty Gators. That's uncomfortable.
I wanted to see what you do. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade Assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. How do I convey to you just how good the incentives and discounts are on America's fastest growing car company, Nissan? Seriously, please shop Kraft Nissan before you buy. No one has the incentives and low prices we have. Not Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Honda, or Hyundai. $5,800 in savings on Altima SR. Brand new automatic Frontier pickup starting at just $21,800. 0% interest for 72 months on our most popular models. Rebates up to $10,000 and no payments until football season. I'm telling you, in the over 30 years I've been in the car business, I've never seen such incentives and low prices. I've got pages and pages of special interest rates, rebates, and bonus cash. Kraft Nissan even has a factory rebate for any credit score under 625 to help you with your down payment. Here's the deal. Nissan is America's fastest growing car company, and they want to be number one, and they're buying market share. So please, before you buy, check out Kraft Nissan's exciting lineup of new vehicles. That's all I ask. Stop by Kraft Nissan and look. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Price includes dealer preparation charge.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
Oh, no. My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
Is your truck going to be able to handle all these pavers for the patio?
No problem. The F-150 has got a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body.
Oh.
With best-in-class payload, the F-150 can handle the work you need it to.
Remember when I had a high-strength military-grade body?
I don't, actually.
It's always a good time. Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best-selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade Assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Don't let Tallahassee's hot summers get you down. Barano Heating and Air Conditioning can help in case of a breakdown, day or night. Their certified technicians can get you up and running in no time. Turn to the experts at Carrier and at Barano Heating and Air. Call 580-4029 or visit baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So are you rising at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. to watch you a little British Open golf?
Well, it's the Open Championship these days. They're being very snooty about that, you see.
I didn't see.
Oh, yeah. It's a
It's
big
the
deal.
British Open at Royal Birkdale. That's what it is.
There it is.
They can get all snooty if they want to, but I'm going to watch the British Open
You're damn right.
at Birkdale.
I'm going to wave my American flag as I do so, sir.
Damn it.
I'll
There's
probably
only one Open. It's the U.S. Open.
I'll probably get up between 5 and 5:30. The coverage starts at 1:30, and you know, in the old days, I suppose I could have watched the first couple hours
Yeah,
and then
you'd
taken
been out
a
at
nap.
the bar. Yeah. So 5:30. That's not unreasonable. That's pretty close to when a lot of people get up anyhow.
Yeah, and
So-
Brooks tees off 5:06, something like that. So that's his first tournament too since the U.S.
He's going to be in contention to win it.
I agree.
He is.
He's wired that way.
I think he's wired that way. I also think that, man, the way he hits it, out hitting trouble, wide open spaces, long ways, and he plays his shot, right? He plays that cut, fade, he's fine.
Well, if you can hit a 3-wood, 370 yards, I mean, shoot, you can just hit something and land it about 280 away. If it clears the trouble, it'll roll for another 60 yards out that way.
Yeah, unless they get weather and slows the course down.
It looks like tomorrow is going to be a clear day throughout, and then Friday, I should say, is going to usher in some bad weather around lunchtime and then into the afternoon. But tomorrow, smooth sailing from start to finish if that weather pattern holds.
So I am curious. I mean, Jordan Spieth, because a lot of people will talk about ball striking and course management being key here. I think it's true of just about freaking any major. That's a kind of an easy fallback there. But you know what? Will the local guy, Tommy Fleetwood,
who's been playing beautifully,
great, ever since he started talking about meditating. Seriously, he talks about, finding ways to meditate and finding inner peace and all that goodness. Yeah.
He's been consistent all season long, though. It's not just this last run of about 6 weeks when he was obviously playing with Brooks in the final 2 days, really. But he's been consistent as all get out, and why not? I mean, he already knows what he can do on a Saturday and Sunday at a major.
You want flyers, you gamblers? All right, I'll give you a couple flyers that I think make sense for the course and for the confidence heading in, and guys that are completely off the radar in all likelihood. Stuart Sink comes to mind, and Padraig Harrington, who's won here. So, and he loves the course, and he's healthy.
If I comprehended what I read correctly, I believe the winning score was +3 to par when Padraig won.
Wow.
Yeah. So this place can get a little nasty, and the winds look like they're going to be holding around, as you would expect in a British Open, as an aside, 15 to 25 miles an hour for the first couple of days.
You know what? I didn't remember this till I was going through and looking at the kind of the picks some of the pundits had out there, and Sergio Garcia is a sleeper pick. But the other thing to note here is this is the course where Marco Mira in the same year went green jacket and then, wins at Royal Birkdale to take home the Claret Jug. That was a year.
Was that 96, 97?
98.
Okay. Well, by a year or two.
1998. But I forgot that old man just up and decided to be great out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, he made the long putt on 72 at Augusta.
Right.
And that's when Jack was given the interview, because that was, if it wasn't Jack's last Masters, he made the weekend cut. And he was...
People forget that 2 of the last 3 times that he made the cut at Augusta, late in his career, his career was over. He would just come back and play.
Late in life, yeah.
He was late in life, is late in life. He was actually in contention on a Sunday in one of those times, at 70.
Yeah, that was the O'Meara year.
Yeah.
And he was doing his interview for SportsCenter, and then he heard the crowd where he goes, "Did O'Meara make the putt?" And that was the moment. Then, 2 majors later, O'Meara would win. It's just, you talked about Brooks being in contention.
I think he will be.
I watched everything I possibly could from a media standpoint, all the interviews that he did, which were very few compared to most major champions. And, man, he does not care about anything but the golf. And I think that's why he'll be able to handle the mantle of being a major champion better than most usually are. Because then they go on the media circuit, they do every little extra sponsorship gig they need to do for another year, and you see that slump. And it's not uncommon to see that slump. Brooks looks like he's immune to that type of thing.
Well, I'm going to do this because it is one of the cool advantages that we have in the market. I do the show with Trey. I bring it up all the time to promote it. I'm doing the show tonight with Trey. Beyond the Tips on the PGA Tour Network, 92-208. I do that show 9 to 10 p.m. on Wednesday nights, and we've had opportunities to interview players, and of course that includes a bunch of former players at FSU, Jonas Blix and Brooks Koepka amongst them, Daniel Berger. And also I get to talk to Trey, both on a pretty regular basis, but also in between the breaks, and we just talk about mindset, players he's coached, the way guys are wired. He can certainly lend that kind of insight in a way that most of us wouldn't have the opportunity to know. So I'll tell you this: you're right. You're observing correctly. When I talked to him, whether it was talking to Brooks or talking to Coach Trey Jones, he said that guy just does not, you're right, does not care. He turned down, okay, so he wins the U.S. Open with an incredible performance when you look at score to par and historically speaking where he was. It's amazing. And he never looked to sweat. There was nothing about that performance that suggests nerves were going to get to him at any point. And he even started to really roll it when he had to, which isn't necessarily the strength of his game, right? Well, he was scheduled, I know this, because we were getting him on Beyond the Tips. And I was contacted by the producers from SiriusXM. Hey, can you get him on? Talk to Trey. Can we get him on? Can we get him on? They wanted him on all the shows, not just our silly Wednesday nights 9 to 10, but their primetime shows, right? Can you get him on? Can you get him on? And Trey said, we'll see. I can't promise you that. I don't know that he's going to do that. That's not how he's wired. That was the first indicator. Second, he was scheduled to go on the like the Tonight Show circuit, basically. He was supposed to go on all the major talk shows. When you win the U.S. Open, that happens. He was going to do the New York Media Blitz. So he was scheduled to go to New York City and be on, I don't even watch late night television anymore, but
so it'd be Fallon and Colbert,
right, and all those
Jimmy Kimmel out west, and
right. He was supposed to go on those shows.
Yeah.
And he told his agent, he told people, I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's not good for me. It's a distraction. I had told my friends and family that if we won, or after this tournament, just period, after this tournament, we were going to go to Vegas, and he was just going to have his inner sanctum, if you will, around him, and they were going to just have a good time. They were going to do the plays, do the stuff. They were going to see the shows, play a little golf themselves, and whatever you do, you party, obviously, in Vegas. But it was just going to be with that intimate group, and he was not granting a ton of interviews other than the interviews he did on the course after the round. He understood he had to do the Golf Channel stuff, like just right after the round. He did those things. The rest of it, he swore off. And if you think back now to him having won that championship, he's been on nothing. He's not on anything.
Yeah, the thing I was watching for closely, and golf is probably the sport I've consistently watched the most since being a kid. You know, hockey has taken its turn. It's been there to stay. Baseball, football, pro, college have kind of switched places. Grew up as more of a pro fan, and then now the college game is all I love and care about other than the Bucks. Well, no, I just mean, you know, in terms of watching outside market games.
Right.
I could watch any college football game.
Me too.
But I wanted to see if Brooks, after he won the major, in those first couple hours, would break character, so to speak, or if that's who he is. Because sometimes, guys, it's like poker.
You can't help yourself. At the table, you got an opportunity.
At the table, you might build up a persona so that, you know, it inspires fear in the other player, and then all of a sudden you win, and you're bawling like a kid because you finally climbed the mountain. No, there was no such, other than him putting his head in his hand.
Yeah, he cried a little bit when he got in the cart with his girlfriend because his brother and trainer and a couple other people had said congratulations. And I think in the moment he realized I've achieved a dream, he got a little choked up there, but that was it.
That's it. He's being asked questions about, well, who are you essentially? Even though the tour players know him, the media wants to get to know him, and he's indignant because the way he responded, it exuded him saying something like the idea of, well, I already know that I'm great. So you're just finding out now, are you? Well, this is who I am. This is who I'm going to be, and I care about playing golf, and I care about playing at a high level. How did you not know this already? That's what it came off as.
Well, and to that end, when he was recruited by Florida State, it was almost by accident. Trey had gone to another event to see another player play and liked what he saw from Brooks. Well, at that time, he had a couple of guys that were going to be coming into that next class, and Brooks came up and wanted the opportunity, I guess was going to visit, and Trey was basically saying that, hey, I've got a couple of other guys in this upcoming class, and they're going to be playing tomorrow. We're going to be playing, and I think they were playing at Southwood, and I can't promise you anything because you have a limited number of scholarships in golf, right? And Brooks said, well, if those guys are playing tomorrow, what time? He just wanted to go play, and he wanted the opportunity to go play. And by the time that round ended, Brooks told his Trey told his assistant, we've been recruiting the wrong guy. There's the guy. That guy right there, he's about the business of kicking ass. There's no – he doesn't need to talk about this. He doesn't – just promise me you'll give me the opportunity to be the guy. No matter what you've done in recruiting, give me this chance, and I'll prove to you.
And he could go out and miss the cut this weekend. But
it's golf, sure.
Because it's golf, not because he's been doing the circuit and, the bright lights in the big cities are getting into his head. That's just not who he is. He cares about the game. And then he strikes me as the type as when he's done with golf, he'll be done.
He's not a golf nut.
Right.
He loves the challenge. He loves getting better. He loves the work. He trains with Dustin Johnson, and they train together. And obviously, you know what Dustin is in terms of how he's turned his life into just focus on golf, family, working out, doing all that stuff. That's who he trains with on a regular basis. And I think they're both mentally tough guys. We're talking about two guys that are kind of stoic. Outwardly, you don't see a lot of emotion. Play at their own pace, play their game, aren't really worried about what you think about them. They know what they are. And they have an edge to them, not just in terms of their athleticism, those two guys in particular, but also their mentality about the game. It's not life or death to them. It was life or death to Tiger Woods, and it worked for Tiger Woods. It did. And for some other guys, it is. It's not life and death to Rory, and you've seen Rory just kind of...
But for every Tiger, there's 200 that it's life or death to, and so therefore it's too big of a moment.
Too big of a moment, right. And you got to have the right... Yes, you got to have the right... mindset for it as well, and so I think the cool, calm, collected. I love this. I love to compete. I love to work. I like the process. Jimbo would love him, but I don't need golf to be my everything. I'm okay in the world. If you take golf away from me, I'm gonna be all right. Well, that's good. It's good if you can get it. That's hard to do.
Okay, so if you're setting a number for Brooks for where he's gonna finish, you think he's in contention? I'll set it at 12.5. And ties, I'll give you. Over, under. What side would you like? He'll finish at 12 or better?
It's almost an unfair bet just because golf is golf, man. I mean...
Well, he said he'd be in contention. I mean, I feel like 12 is fair.
The hunch I have is that he'll be in contention. He'll make the cut. He'll be right there. Yeah, I'll put him in the top 12. I mean, I know he'll be there on the weekend. I'm going to give you that, and we'll see. The other problem is, my problem with the British Open. You could be the best golfer, and it doesn't make any damn difference. See the year that Tiger got hit by a hurricane and shot an 80 whatever, and then had the 3 best rounds of the tournament saved for that ridiculous afternoon where he's out there getting 100-mile-per-hour winds in his face, and he posted whatever that 86 was. Nonsense. He would have won that one, too. He got screwed there. And people do get screwed in the British Open. And that's fair, regardless of...
They get screwed in other tournaments with weather delays, and so they have to do half a round one day, half a round another.
Not like the British Open. It's not even close to the same. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey,
y'all. We're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin, Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
If you haven't stopped into Tallahassee's favorite hangout, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill on North Monroe Street, you're missing out.
Hey, it's me, Courtney. Hey, it's me, Marissa.
Last but not least, I'm Kim, and we're the girls from the Fourth Quarter.
Okay, girls, there are lots of great nights to stop in at the Fourth Quarter, including Monday, where it's happy hour all day, including 2-for-1 Wells. There's Tuesday night trivia with Professor Jimmy, where you can win money. What other night should we stop by the Fourth Quarter?
It's Kim again. Join me Saturday and Sunday mornings for Bubbles and Brunch from 7 to 2. $18.99, all you can drink mimosas and Bloody Marys, and it includes breakfast.
Hey, Riss here. Come join me for lunch. We have over 20 lunch specials for just $7.50, and that includes a drink. I'm Courtney. Visit me on Monday nights when we have 2-for-1 Wells, calls, and domestic drafts all night.
Don't miss out on the girls of the Fourth Quarter. Pick your favorite night and stop in. Say hi to the girls at 2033 North Monroe Street, the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill, Tallahassee's favorite hangout.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Once again, all of you with stellar credit ratings, congratulations. And this message is not for you. All year I've been talking about our New For You program to assist good people with dings in their credit. And just last week, a friend of mine came into my office worried about his own credit rating. But thanks to our New For You program, you guessed it, he drove away in a brand new Nissan Altima. We are proud of the fact that we have helped hundreds of people that were previously limited shopping little used car lots where they overpaid, got huge finance charges, and had very few choices on cars to purchase. Some of those lots may actually hurt your credit more than they could ever help. So remember, credit score under 600? Come on in. Recent bankruptcy? Come on in. Recently divorced? Come on in. Think you have a financial problem we've never heard of? Come on in to Kraft Nissan. And come see the one dealer in Tallahassee that can really help you out. Come see the cars that everyone wants at the hottest dealer in town, Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco, or visit us on the web at craftnissan.com.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Tallahassee will be overrun with potential future Seminoles today as the Jimbo Fisher Camp begins. It'll be a star-studded affair. Last night was also a star-studded affair, all about raising money for the Lift for Life, where the Florida State football team was hoping to raise at least $5,000 for Fanconi anemia. Baseball wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline. The Yankees pick up Todd Frazier from the White Sox, while J.D. Martinez heads to the Diamondbacks from Detroit for a trio of minor leaguers. Dallas Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones says he has spoken to Ezekiel Elliott since the running back's involvement in an incident in a bar Sunday. This comes in the wake of his potential suspension by the league from a domestic violence investigation he is also involved in. And suspended Baylor defensive back Trayvon Blanchard is suspended indefinitely from the team. Now he's under investigation and accusation because of his arrest after an alleged incident involving his girlfriend.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. One last side note, at least for now, about the British Open, which in the wee hours of tonight, morning, tomorrow morning, you'll be able to watch. I know you're going to applaud. You'll probably stand up to applaud. Phil Mickelson has decided to take the driver out of his bag. Doesn't think it's necessary for the British Open. All right, my man. And we were just having a conversation during the break that Tiger should have 2 more British Opens in the bag if he'd have just kept hitting that beautiful stinger that won him the one. Well, he has more than one British Open win, right?
Yeah, but the 06, he only hit one driver all week. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it there. And especially if you're going to spray it all over the lot, then you might as well hit the stinger, keep it in play. Let's go. Hit it from the short stuff and move on.
This should be an interesting field. Again, golf, when we entered the year, we were talking about how good of a place it's in because it has so many superstars that seem to be entering their prime all at the same time. But that hasn't really been the case. A lot of the favorites have petered out. I mean, they're still in the field here, and they could emerge.
Can't find Jason Day on a map.
Correct.
Rory's been rusty and up and down.
Correct.
Spieth has been streaky.
Yep.
DJ's been fine. He's been a good player, save for falling down the steps at the Masters. He's been solid. Brooks will be good, we think.
But DJ wasn't a factor on the weekend at the U.S. Open, which was his first major of the year.
Right. I still think he'll play well. I mean, he hits it a mile. He's hard not to include in these things when it's hard to hit it out of bounds.
And then he had Rahm with the mental problems for the U.S. Open. Now, he just did win 2 weeks ago. So if you want to play a hot hand, you might want to play him.
He's really good, too.
Yes.
And so you have him. Sergio won the Masters and has played, prior to winning the Masters, was playing really, really well. Is all the fanfare now done? Can he settle in and play good golf?
He played well because the BMW PGA over there is a huge event as far as the Euro Tour goes, and it had a good field. Henrik Stenson made a run on Sunday. Sergio was right there on a Sunday. So
it's
he's
always
playing.
Fun. I can only hear Kenny Knox when you, as far as the Euro Tour goes.
That's the great thing about the game of golf.
It's the great game of golf.
The great game of golf. Even Europeans can play it.
Yeah. It's the best.
And you treat him with the same courtesy that you do.
Yeah, it's the best. I laugh every time.
With much tougher, more talented Americans.
Oh, that's a big deal in the Euro tournament. Played well with them. We got to get Kenny back on soon. I miss the man. That's still one of my favorites. So, switch gears. I like Louis Riddick. Sometimes I roll my eyes with the role that he has. I do believe him to be a knowledgeable individual, and obviously he worked in the NFL, played in the NFL. Sometimes gets on the moral high horse and assumes the worst of players. But I think he's specifically talking about the Dallas Cowboys when he said that you should never spare an expense when it comes to your medical training staff, A. B, scouting security player programs. Fair enough, but Dallas is the same organization that basically held Des Bryant's hand for 4 years to ensure that he didn't do something absolutely cataclysmically stupid on a daily basis when he was wont to do so. And I'd say that worked. He's gone on to have a great career and been a stud for a long time.
I know this sounds like I'm casting it aside as something that's not important. I don't mean it that way. Outside of the domestic whispers, the
100-mile-per-hour thing I don't care about.
Right. When Zeke was coming out of college and into the draft, there weren't any whispers like there were for a Des Bryant. I mean, people were shouting from the rooftops, listen, man, this guy might have some issues. You might need to have a detail attached to him. And that's exactly, as you just said, what the Cowboys did. About Zeke, it was he's the plug-and-play guy from this year's draft class. They weren't talking about character concerns.
Not that I recall. Obviously, we weren't there to cover him all the time at Ohio State, so I don't know. But, yeah, I don't remember that being a big to-do. It has been ever since he came into the league.
They sure as hell brought it up with Dalvin the entire time.
Yeah, well, this is yes. As far as, Jason Garrett was said to have had a long conversation with Ezekiel Elliott. It made headlines in Dallas. Everything that happens in Dallas does. But you're right. When you go incident by incident and you recap some of the stuff there, this doesn't feel the same. I'm not saying he's not going to be a problem. I don't know. I don't know him. I have no idea. but he was involved in a quote-unquote incident at a Dallas bar late Sunday night. That's been the talk all week long. Then they went back and they resurfaced all of these things that the NFL is looking into, which was the situation in April where he was driving 100, but he was driving 100 in a 70. I'm saying
it ain't great, but I mean, come on now. Is that something that you're going to put on the headlines of a newspaper and you're going to say, this guy's a problem, a menace to society? He's driving 100?
No.
No.
It's not at all, and I dare say that a good percentage of our listeners have done 170. I'm not going to be that guy that if I've done that, and, you know, I may have done it recently. I don't know. It could have happened, Tom. It's just, you know, depending on the right highway. Now, I don't know the road he was on, and that is a big deal.
Listen to you, Hugh Freeze.
I'm just saying it may have happened. But 170, don't care about it. I care to some extent the halter top thing because it shows a lack of awareness. I don't know the relationship with her and what their situation was. It doesn't appear that that was like an assault at all. It doesn't appear, and from what I understand of that situation.
And if we've learned anything, it's to, you know, command all the facts before you make a definitive statement about whether or not that indicts him as a criminal.
Right. It's one of the things that the league was looking into is the only reason I bring it up. I wasn't doing it. I'm just taking a cursory glance at these so-called transgressions as to why it's been the topic. Well, it's the topic because it's July 19th, but it's also the topic because he's in Dallas. And I get, you know, you got to be mindful of the current climate. You got to understand what is scrutinized and what's ignored, and that's good. And you also have to be aware, obviously, of just self-respect and being a good person. I got you. But a lot was made of that, and that situation doesn't appear to have been criminal or even I'll just leave it at that. So that situation, again, I don't know that that deserves to be grouped in here, but yet it's something else the NFL says it's looking at. I think this is more of these kinds of conversations. Now, the incident at the nightclub, that could be bad. We'll see. Did he assault somebody? Did he not? I don't know. But short of that, short of some sort of assault or domestic violence that you're talking about, this to me is more of a catalyst to talk about the NFL's sort of nebulous, ambiguous process of which they decide how somebody is suspended or not. I don't know. Like, they hold this stuff over guys for long periods of time and reserve the right to then suspend you, but there is not something specific within their rule book that says, if you do this and you are convicted or not convicted, here is the penalty. It's 2 games, it's 8 games, it's 6 games, it's 4 games. It seems to be all over the map, which leads to more questioning of what specifically is your policy on these things.
There is no doubt, there is absolutely no doubt that the whispers of domestic abuse is informing the rest of the Ezekiel Elliott case. And you know, if whatever the report says for that, and I'm sure at some point, you know, we'll have.
Is that a domestic abuse?
It was a domestic incident. That was the whisper because it was informing whether or not he was going to be able to play in the postseason or down the stretch last year. It's something I'm not talking about the nightclub thing.
Okay.
It's something from before. And that's where all of these subsequent cases and this interest in Ezekiel Elliott comes from.
Well,
is because there was some concern towards the end of last year that he may be suspended for a game.
Well, they're already talking basically that they think he will. Oh, what it was he was an investigation. He had a former girlfriend in 2016 that there were rumors that's right. You're correct, that there was domestic violence allegations. Now, that was in 2016. We're in the 7th month of 2017.
Well, and
what are we doing here?
Some conspiracy theorists were saying, well, because this is coming to light in a more serious way right around the playoffs, let's see if they actually suspend him or not for, you know, a marquee game or two.
The other reason this is all coming to light is, again, we get back to it's Dallas, but they had a player who was charged with DWI in May. They had a linebacker who was arrested on 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I mean, so now you're having 3 and 4 guys in the news from the same team that has a history of being in the news, guys from the same team, that kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah, they picked up Greg Hardy in the not too distant past.
Right. So those are more reasons. I'm just going by the stuff that they're lumping in now. He's never been charged with the situation with the girlfriend. I don't know if anything happened or didn't happen. Obviously, if it did, that's troubling, but we don't know. 170, I don't care about. Now, would you say this is a pattern that should be concerning to the Dallas Cowboys? Sure. Well, yeah, I would think so. I imagine it is.
That's different than a suspension.
It is very different than a suspension. That's all I'm getting at. It's very different. Final hour forthcoming. Stay with.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
For better gas mileage and a longer-lasting engine, change your vehicle's oil at Superlube every 3 months or 3,000 miles, whichever comes first. For good times and family fun, Tallahassee heads to the Fun Station. And right now, when you change your oil at Superlube, you'll get a $15 Fun Station gift card. You don't need an appointment. You'll be in and out in no time. And with 19 Tallahassee area Superlubes, there's probably one right around the corner right now.
How I love to Superlube my car, yes sir!
JCPenney's Power Penny Days are back. Now's the time to stock up on back-to-school essentials for your family. This Friday through Sunday only, save big on select must-haves like $3 towels, $5 kids' Izod uniform polos, $7 backpacks, and kids' Izod uniform shorts for just $9. Plus, stack on the savings and take an extra 15% off with your coupon. Hurry, JCPenney's Power Penny Days end Sunday. That's getting your pennies worth. JCPenney. Coupon valid 7/21 to 7/23 on select items in-store and at jcp.com. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Attention small business owners, you know how hard it is to get funding to grow your business. Next Wave Funding is a direct funder that can help you get the cash you need when you need it, even if your credit is not that great. If you've been in business for over 1 year, have at least $12,000 in sales every month, Next Wave will purchase your future earnings and give you the money you need. It's as simple as that. This is by far the easiest and best funding for existing businesses. Call 800-430-4566. That's 800-430-4566.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things. Dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. All systems cleared for launch. Initiate launch sequence. T-minus 3, 2, 1, mark. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
You are now off the couch and out exploring the world.
Roger that.
Get charged up for what's coming next anytime, anywhere with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Tallahassee will be overrun with potential future Seminoles today as the Jimbo Fisher Camp begins. It'll be a star-studded affair. Last night was also a star-studded affair, all about raising money for the Lift for Life, where the Florida State football team was hoping to raise at least $5,000 for Fanconi anemia. Baseball wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline. The Yankees pick up Todd Frazier from the White Sox, while J.D. Martinez heads to the Diamondbacks from Detroit for a trio of minor leaguers. Dallas Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones says he has spoken to Ezekiel Elliott since the running back's involvement in an incident in a bar Sunday. This comes in the wake of his potential suspension by the league from a domestic violence investigation he is also involved in. And suspended Baylor defensive back Trayvon Blanchard is suspended indefinitely from the team. Now he's under investigation and accusation because of his arrest after an alleged incident involving his girlfriend.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're involved in an illegal gambling pool, and I just got my picks in time, Tom. Should be updated.
Well, do these qualify as fantasy leagues? Because those are completely legal and on the up and up.
You're damn right they are. That's what I meant to say. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com, where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. But, hey, if you miss stuff, it happens. All 3 hours going to be posted either way, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. So that's good for you and me and anybody who likes the show. Yay.
Not a believer in Snedeker this week, are you?
I think did he withdraw from the damn tournament? I think he
Maybe
did.
He's not in it. That's good.
I get Sneds the hell out of there. I don't want him in there even if he is playing. So, yeah, I withdrew him. But the point would be everybody's could go back and catch us online. Limited commercial interruption, iTunes, our own audio vault, and it's all brought to you by our good friend Carlton Dean and the fine folks at SVN.
There you go. You're right. Snedeker withdraws due to a rib issue. There's your breaking news.
I'm on it, buddy.
There you go.
There you go. So it's a good thing I didn't want him. Email the show if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter @JCameronShow. WTSM app, that'll work. You're all good. By the way, you heard in the local sports center that a good thing happened last night, yesterday afternoon, I should say, and that is absolutely true and a great thing. Every year now, this has become something in which we can celebrate and smile and enjoy as the Lift for Life took place yesterday. And you get the cool photo galleries from that, or if you go out and participate and you're part of it and you give, good on you. It's great to see former players come back. Dalvin Cook was there. Travis Rudolph was there. And, again, I think that most fans enjoy going there to see some of the new guys. I mean, Kando was there. Marvin Wilson was there. I recently, Tom, had to put together my top 40, the annual top 40 that we do for warchant.com, and you were away.
Oh,
I know.
man.
We've always kind of sat down and talked this out and vetted this together, but I did it on my own this year.
I love complaining about doing that and then doing it and having fun. You know?
We do it on the big board. We do it on the big board.
Buddy.
Well, Tom, I'll tell you what. It was your time to be in Halifax with the Canadians.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know what? Next week, we'll big board that sucker anyhow and do our top 40.
We'll build a top 40.
I kept my top 40. And that top 40 did not include Kando.
Really?
Well, it's not a position of need, and I don't know how many reps he's going to get, and there were just other guys that spoke to the depth of talent this Florida State team has. I didn't put him in there.
Poor little Kane.
I didn't put him in there. But Marvin Wilson made the list.
Really?
Yeah, Marvin made the list.
See, I would think that we have greater depth
We
in
do.
the interior than we do on rush ends.
We do. It's a debatable point. It's admitted. It's just I think Marvin's going to be. He's going to demand some time.
And that's before Derwin James christened him the freak, the real freak.
That's right. So, but people like to go and look at those pictures and see what kind of shape their boys are going to be in come this fall. And Coach Fisher talked about the team and what he thought, was possible, and obviously the event. It was pretty cool, and that's fine. Uplifting athletes, the Live for Life and money raised, it's all a very good thing. But it is a sneak peek at some of the new guys, and that was the talking point. Also, another talking point that I think is odd. Coach Fisher talked about it. We heard the audio yesterday, Tom. George Campbell still battling injury. Well, okay. He participated in every event. There were no limitations on him. You can see a photo of him carrying 75-pound weights like they're feathers, racing down the the field there. I don't know what to make of that. It could very well be that he's able to do some things, including the things that were involved in the Live for Life and not others still from a contact standpoint. I don't know, but he seemed to be in great spirits. He was participating in everything. And look, is he the make or break item on this offense as to whether or not the Noles make the playoffs or not? No, but we keep waiting on George Campbell. We keep knowing. This is a 5-star guy, big, tall receiver. Fisher described him as certainly being tough when he first arrived. Obviously, to have the speed he does at the size he does. The only thing he's really known for now, besides not being on the field, is that when he got on the field, there was a perfectly thrown ball right in his hands, which would have been a touchdown, and he dropped it. And that's the last time we saw him do anything on a football field because he's been battling injuries. Now, that's no fault of his own, but that sometimes happens. Football's a physical game. But if you're telling me that he still has some injury issues that he's fighting through and that we're not real sure he's going to be a big part of what we're doing this year, and then I see him at Live for Life throwing around 75, 85-pound weights and participating in every event, some of which involve the core, the same area where he was hurt, I don't know what to make of that.
Well, I'm not a certified movement specialist or anything like that.
But we've worked with one for a long time.
Yeah, and if you're throwing around that kind of weight, the core does include, that's odd that we're itching our ear at the same time. That was really...
Activation.
Stabilizers.
Of course.
And these movements that you're making with the heavy weight, it feels like it's probably going to tug on the core a little bit there. So
explosive movements in general, you need all of that. Yes, I don't know what to think of that. It should be something that we're not looking at with a jaundiced eye or suspiciously. It could be something that, hey, the kid is taking a turn for the better. He's on the verge of or on the cusp of something good. Or there's something else out there. Listen, I'll engage in it. It's July. We can talk about the rumor mill. I don't know. Does he have grade issues? Does he have a problem off the field that we don't know about? Because what else would explain it? I'm not trying to start something when there isn't nothing. I'm saying if you tell me he's hurt and then he's at this event fully participating in everything and he doesn't look hurt at all, I have to ask what the hell's going on.
Right. They report in 2 weeks and we'll get a better answer when Coach Fisher does his first address of the fall. That's because of yesterday, that is most certainly going to be one of the questions in the first press conference.
It was kind of the thing that raised my eyebrows the most.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking for storylines. I just think that's interesting.
Well, one other storyline, and we talked about it off the air a little bit. You talking about, what are our boys going to be in terms of health? Alec Eberle. He was named to the ACC first team center, and that's because of a dearth of talent at the position. I looked at the roster and the other candidates, and I never heard of that guy.
Right.
Okay. But there has been a lot of chatter that because he was banged up and in a sensitive area in terms of strength building last year, that maybe some of the results we saw were kind of akin to what we saw with Noddy for a few games, where he's on the field, you don't know that he's hurt, and then all of a sudden you're like, why is this dude getting blown up on every play?
He was on roller skates against Louisville in particular.
As the person who gets night sweats from center issues, and I wake up.
We may see a positive outlook from one Tom Lang here. Are you about to go down the road? I think you're going to go down here?
Well, I'm going to ask a greater question.
All right.
Is it possible that Eberle might be somebody who's more consistent than we expect him to be this year? Could it be that there was something to that story, and he's going through a strength building process the way that he never could last year.
Yes.
And so maybe he's able to handle the responsibilities, a great many responsibilities we ask of center in terms of where they need to be and how quickly they need to get there. Can he do that now?
The degree to which he can do that is probably not going to reach Stork status, who is a unique talent. But we don't need him to be that per se. I just need him to be a hell of a lot better than he was.
Can you neutralize?
Yeah. Can you be somewhere, can you be right down the middle there? Can you be not a detriment? Can you don't have to be a plus player. You just can't be a minus player. Sure. Yeah, I'll deal with that. It's entirely possible. I mean, when you have surgery to fix problems and you feel good and you can get in the gym and you can work out and you can address the areas of need that you couldn't a year ago because you were dealing with the weight of an injury, without question, it could make the biggest difference. And never mind the fact that once you're healthy, and, we talked about this yesterday when we talked about Federer and this return to health and this freedom he feels and this idea that psychologically it's freeing. Not just physically allowing you to move around the court, or in his case, the football field, but psychologically when you can let it go, when you can just play the damn game. Yes, it's very possible he's a much better player this year than he was a year ago. I don't know if he will be, but it's possible, yes, to answer your question.
I see this argument throughout the message boards, Twitter, or in conversations.
Emails, whatever it might be.
Emails, yeah. And it's about, Eberle wasn't really the problem. And I'm not here to argue who was the biggest
he wasn't
problem
great, though.
On the offensive line. Exactly.
No, he wasn't great.
What was he? Was he the solution? Was he the guy that you look at and you say, oh, well, I mean, if we could all play like Alec Eberle, then this offensive line would be one of the top 5 in the country. No, but center is the most important position in our offensive line, given what we're asking them to do, climbing to the second level, reaching, and where they need to get after they snap the football.
Pre-snap read.
By the way, all that stuff.
By the way, what did happen was, whether you think he was the problem or just a middling, just a guy, as Jimbo likes to say, a jag, just another guy. I thought he was just another guy. He was, at times he was bad. He was never great.
At best, he was just another guy.
At best, he was just another guy. Yeah. Maybe he has a chance now. Well, and frankly, if he could be just another guy to decent for the whole year and not be a minus player, like I said, okay, what he was good enough or bad enough, depending on your definition, to have you start talking about Bavion Johnson being ready. That's what he was.
He's good enough,
He's
bad enough.
Or bad enough for you to start wondering about other people.
To lament the center problem for another year.
My relationship with this girl is such that, it's okay. It'll work for now. Doesn't keep me from talking to other women. That's kind of where we were at with him,
exactly,
right?
Yes.
It's just sort of all right. Got to have a center, Tom.
Yeah, that's a placeholder, I suppose.
World needs plenty of bartenders. So, I mean, that's kind of where we were, right?
World needs plenty of bartenders.
But I still think, you can look at – we started to look at Bavion. We started to look at how quickly Baselli could get ready. All that stuff came into play. I mean, hell, I think Corey Martinez's name was thrown around out there a couple times. So
yes. No, in the midst of the season, we were looking for solutions.
Yeah. We're like, man, we're naming guys. Can Ethan Firth play center? Is there anybody?
Sure. The whole line had their moments, bad moments last year, but, we see what this line is when it has a center that's stable. And I think the proof is in 2014, when you take your left tackle and you throw him over to center and you watch everything change about the interior of that line, that tells you how important the center is to making this whole thing go.
In terms of Jimbo Fisher's happiness with this group and belief that they could be no longer a hindrance, a huge plus, something along the lines of what you saw in some of the better years for Rick Trickett in this offensive line. And there have been more than one. We get caught up in the idea that it's never good. It has been good. There have been years where it was damn good, and there were other issues that plagued the team. And then in the years where there weren't other issues and they were good, we won the national title. Cole Minshew. And this has been a banner sort of offseason in the sense that people talk about his health, they talk about his strength, and his ability has really never been in question. They were in love with him, so much so that they annoyingly talked about him when he couldn't play because he was hurt because of concussion and other issues. And we kept saying, man, is this going to be the guy that could have been? Is this going to be – we're going to hear about this guy constantly and always wonder why he's not out there, always wonder. And it seems unfair because he's just a sophomore. That's how much they talked about him, though. Jimbo would mention him. They clearly wanted to get him out there.
They wanted him to be the center.
Yeah.
Remember, they had him taking snaps.
So they wanted him out there because when we talk about this idea of just finding the best five and making it work, if you got to shuffle guys and teach guys and do, that's fine. Just get me one of the best five out there. He was always on that list. Other guys moved in and out of that. There were guys that, Wilson Bell's transferred now. He was a guy that kind of fell out of favor. They liked him, then they didn't, then they loathed him, then they had to have him out there, but they really did so begrudgingly. Brock Rubel falls in the category of guys that were like, guess we're going to have to go with Brock Rubel.
Rubel.
But they did that, but they didn't love him out there, so they're like, well, maybe Rick Leonard can play the position. So they, that's what I mean.
And he was the defensive player of spring 2016.
Yeah. So this is what they did, right? Derek Kelly. Clearly, they're not in love with Derek Kelly. So all these other guys had these caveats, but not Minshew. They always wanted Minshew out there. So if he's healthy and throwing around 500 pounds, as they're reporting now, and is athletically what they've always thought he could be,
yeah,
man, that's...
Leonard was spring 2015. But, yeah, we're on offensive lineman concussion watch, right? Is that what we're on for fall camp? It's like, oh,
man,
boy.
This gets back to a damn redundant conversation that we're going to have from this point forward. So get ready to roll your eyes if you're a daily listener to the Cameron Show and you think to yourself, good God, guys, we were just talking about this damn thing 24 hours ago. You're going to hear it time and again because you can't help yourself. It's the offensive line, right? I get that. It's that way in a lot of places, but it's especially true here because when we're good, we're really good. When we're bad, we're the problem, right? But that conversation, the concussion conversation, and the conversation about what you do in practice to prepare for somebody as physical as Alabama, and how does Jimbo handle it? And I don't have the answer. Is it to back off because the game is going to be so physical that once you have your group and you trust them, you don't beat the hell out of them in order to instill that toughness to get them game ready, as Jimbo talked about? Or is it the opposite? Is it, guys, this is going to be hell. That's why I did what I did during spring. I put it on you in the spring. I wanted to see that toughness for myself. I needed you guys to understand what this was. I don't think you were prepared last year at the start of the season. That's on me. But you're damn sure going to be ready for the start of this season. We're going to get after it physically. And then from there, after you show I can trust you, I'll dial it back. But I don't think you were prepared physically last year to deal with what you had to deal with. And I don't know the answer to that. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. Got to figure that out. And it was an interesting answer that he gave me specifically when I asked that question at the ACC meetings. And that's unfair to you as a producer because that's where you would have hit that drop just now. But that said,
yeah,
when we played it on yesterday's show, and if we need to, we'll replay it here in a moment when you gather it during the commercial break.
Have the whole thing in block form.
But what I'll tell you is that I think when he was talking that through yesterday, he still wasn't sure, right?
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't sure really what he wanted to do about that.
He said something slightly different in the pool interview. So I think he's going back and forth.
But I would be too. That's a tough question to answer.
Because the thing he said during the pool interview was, well, the other thing you got to remember is these guys never have a break. Two-a-days back in the day, because it started with a two-a-days question. Mm-hmm. Two-a-days back in the day were to get in shape because you came into camp out of shape because it wasn't, 8 months leading into camp that you were constantly working out. But now these guys are a 12-month process.
Working out is so much different than tackling and blocking. It's just so much different. I mean, I know it's wear and tear, and I know it's taxing, but it's not the same as blocking and tackling.
I get you there, but one thing I will say, and this came up on a Mets TV broadcast talking about, the injuries that the Mets are suffering and a lot of their players and their workout regimens. And Ron Darling, who also does a lot of national, baseball, he does the Sunday TBS and the playoffs. He said at some point, trainers are going to have a discussion about training players and athletes to be baseball players and not to be regular athletes,
just
like
CrossFit
generic
guys.
Athlete guy.
Right.
You know what? And I think that might be something that Florida State might be running into, and college football programs across the country. I remember when you had the folks from TOC on for an injury report thing about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were talking about sports hernias And
the core had gotten so strong.
It was ripping the body apart.
Right. The explosive movements, yes. The balancing, yes.
So you're not really built for the sport necessarily, and I think they've been refining that as you go. But if you have a really physical camp, for example, and you've been strength training your athletes to be, CrossFit type athletes or functionally strong athletes, that might not be the most football specific thing in the world, and maybe you're running into problems there.
But I think there's a problem with that, Tom, because I'll tell you something. That's the beauty of the great game of football, and we talk about it all the time. I'm serious about this though. If you're in good football shape, you're in incredible shape. Period, because you have to be super strong at every position, save for punter, and even there you kind of do. So you're going to be strong. You're going to be physically strong. You'll be able to throw around some weights. You're going to be an explosive movement is part of everything in football, whether that's off the line, whether that's coming downhill, whether that's activation, whatever that is. Speed, strength, quickness. You have to have it all. Range of motion. We've moved so far away from back in the day where you lifted a lot of weights in terms of a squat or a bench press or a clean. Now they incorporate, because when you tackle somebody, you're not lifting a weight straight. You're turned to the side. You're pulling, pushing. It's not like with the offensive line, you always understood the bench press. But if you're a linebacker, you're not benching anybody. You got to wrap up, tackle a dude. That involves your core. That involves explosiveness. So I don't know how you're going to go about training them differently.
Well, here's why I say it. Okay, the little types of injuries back in your playing days, and then the first maybe 10 years you're covering
afterwards,
here.
Yeah.
It were knee sprains, right? I mean, it was more sprains
always had
than
ACLs,
tears,
MCLs. We always had those things. So those have been going on forever, right? They used to ruin careers. Now they don't.
Sure, but I mean, there were things like knee sprains, and you'd be back in a couple weeks. It wasn't, always an ACL tear or something along those lines. And to me, it just seems like the injuries. Okay, the performance.
Well, maybe they're specific to year-round training.
You're bigger, stronger, faster than you've ever been.
By far, it's just evolution.
But now you're a sports car, and you're not, a Taurus. So therefore, I mean, how often are sports cars in the shop?
Right, because they're finely tuned. Sure,
right.
Yeah. Every little adjustments have to be made constantly. Right.
So how do you reconcile that with camp and having guys ready to go throughout the course of a season? Because if they're sports cars now instead of a normal sedan, which is what they were, then they're constantly going to have to be.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know, man. That's funny. That's a classic battle between old school, new school. Old school people will blame poor tackling on the lack of physicality in practice and in camp. If you don't tackle in practice on a daily basis and you don't tackle leading up to the start of a season because you fear injury or wear and tear, then you don't tackle well in games. Can that be completely refuted? Some cases, sometimes, sure. But is there an element of truth to that? I think to a degree, yeah. I mean, that's like with anything else. If you don't do it and then you just get asked to do it at full speed, it can be very difficult in any sport. If you don't hit baseballs and then you get asked to hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, good luck.
It's the nuance, though, of the combine freak versus the football player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, a lot of guys can go to the combine and wow NFL scouts, and then they try to make them into a football player.
Well, and by the time you get to the NFL, if you're a defensive player, you damn sure better know how to tackle. So they don't practice tackling in the NFL. I mean, they have scrimmages, and there are things when you do have to tackle, but they're not practicing tackling necessarily in the NFL the way you do in high school or the way you do in college when you're still teaching to some degree. So there are some, obviously it's nuance, it's different. You're talking about the elite of the elite by the time you get to the NFL. All those guys know how to tackle and have probably brought the lumber throughout their whole life or they wouldn't be there. But, yeah, I think for incoming kids, and you do have to practice tackling. You do have to block. You do have to, I don't know. You can't get away from that. It's a physical game. Yes, there's a wear and tear that when you do that in practice all the time, but it also, as Jimbo points out in that answer, which we'll hear when we come back, there is a conditioning to your body to get used to being hit. I don't know what he does. That's a damn tough call.
Well, yeah, because of the vest. A couple of years ago, we're talking about that and how it's great that we're working smarter.
You do have to work smarter, though, and getting guys out of there before heat stroke because people were dying.
I hear that.
But I'm saying, listen, we've come that far. Like, there was that wave where, sadly, across the country, people were dropping like flies. It's crazy to think that at one time, not all that long ago, you fell out in practice. When you got up, you got back into damn practice. You were thought of as weak. They don't do that now. You fall out of practice now. They're worried that medically you could be in some serious peril. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Where with Mountain Dew Kickstart. Available in 10 energizing flavors like mango lime, raspberry citrus, midnight grape, and orange citrus. Mountain Dew Kickstart. Fuel with flavor.
RCD Shell knows how to keep you cool and refreshed. All 20-ounce Pepsi and Mountain Dew products are 2 for $2.22. That's right, 2 for $2.22. And 28-ounce Gatorade is buy one, get one free. It's more fun with Pepsi and Dew, so bring on the bubbles with these cool prices at RCD Shell.
Out on the golf course, there are the obvious hazards. There's the pond, the bunker, the rough, the even rougher.
Yeah, put me down for an 8.
The giant maples. The row of houses out of bounds on the right. The angry flock of geese who've surrounded your ball. Even the occasional groundskeeper you had no clue was there. But if you think you found every possible hazard out there, think again. The hazard you missed could actually be a killer. It's the spot on your skin, the one that could be skin cancer. Fact is, if you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. 1 in 5 Americans is likely to develop a form of skin cancer during their lifetime. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary. Get your history lesson weekdays at 5:30 during the Jeff Cameron Show, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
TNT Supercenter is your official dealer for Mahindra tractors. They have the Mahindra 4540 utility tractor for only $11,995. It has a 3-point lift capacity of over 3,500 pounds and Mahindra's 41 horsepower Tier 4 compliant eco-friendly diesel engine with MCRD technology. MCRD stands for Mahindra's Common Rail Diesel Technology, allowing a Mahindra tractor to pass strict emission standards without the use of a diesel particulate filter. Bottom line to you, less maintenance, less downtime, and less cost. TNT and the Mahindra 4540 tractor, making the competition green with envy.
The following message is brought to you by Health Markets, your first choice when you need health insurance for your small business. Do you offer health insurance to your employees? Call us now and see if you can save money. Do you want to offer vision and dental to your employees? Call us. Do you think you're paying too much for your current health insurance? Call us. Do you want somebody else to do all the legwork and search thousands of health plans from over 180 health insurance companies nationwide? Call us. We're Health Markets, and thanks to a little-known solution, we could help your business save thousands of dollars on health insurance costs and save your employees money too. Our service is free. Don't miss the great savings. Call now.
800-478-0834. 800-478-0834. 800-478-0834. That's 800-478-0834.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., licensed in all states. Product availability varies.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, so this will be quick because we're going to go straight to that sound I was just referencing, Jimbo Fisher and I's conversation about being physical in practice, preparing, getting ready mentally and physically for a game like Alabama. And per Tom and I's discussion just a moment ago, that fine line between overdoing it but also being sure that they're ready physically to play a game like this. This is what he had to say about that and a few other things because, he's prone to certainly want to talk a little bit more than just about that. So here this is.
Yeah, last year you told me that you thought, man, athletic for days. We know that you recruit so well. But then when practice started, you started telling the press after each practice, we can win, we'd look great in a photo shoot and we can run and jump, but I'm not sure we're tough enough yet. And then that carried over into the spring this year where you said you were hell on them.
You got to develop it. Today's culture doesn't allow it.
Right.
We don't allow practices like we used to practice. We don't live like we used to live. As a kid, I remember the things I had to do before I could even go play
Right.
with a friend.
Right.
There was 4 hours of chores, and that was on a bad day. I grew up on a farm, but we don't incorporate that. And I think incorporating that into these kids, I think, is a constant building process, whether you're trying to do that at the same time, stay safe and not injured at the same time.
How do you do it?
It's a fine line to walk.
Yeah, and they don't allow you to do as much.
No, they don't. They don't. And at the end of the day, this game's got pads and helmets. And you got to find ways to incorporate that or recruit those types of kids that have that already built in them, which is even harder too.
I guess carry that over to what's going to be as physical a game as you'll play against Alabama. Mm-hmm. How do you ride that fine line that you mentioned? You got to know that they're physically tough enough to block a team like that, to line up and play smash mouth if you have to, and also to protect the quarterback and throw it around the lot. And at the same time, because it's such a physical group of teams you play early, on their defensive lines, when we're talking about Miami and NC State, great defensive lines there, obviously Alabama, I guess as a coach, how do you approach it?
Well, I think first of all is mindset. Once you realize, all right, this is going to be tough, it's going to be hard, it's going to be demanding, I accept it. And I think your body has to practice a certain way to condition itself to people say, well, least is better. Well, no, sometimes injuries occur more when you're softer in practice because the body's not conditioned the way a game is played.
Jimbo Fisher talking at the ACC Media Days in Charlotte about the very subject we were just noting, what you do as a coach.
Well, that's what I was kind of hitting on last segment, which is,
He said two different things.
Well, no, about the game is played different than the body is conditioned. I mean, you can do all the core and explosive movement building exercise you want to do, but when you have to, use all of that strength that you've built up with football movements and the contact of football and the way the football game is played, I mean, are you building up all that strength in the smartest way possible, or is it going to actually hinder what you need to do on a football field? Because it's a very unique game. The angles change every play.
I don't think you get a good answer to that in terms of definitively knowing this is the right way to build a football player. That's changed a lot. It changes constantly, which is a good thing. But it adheres now more than ever to the movements in football in a way that it didn't 20 years ago.
Oh, I think there is no doubt that you're building a better football player than you were building in the 70s.
Part of the problem for the brain.
Right. Yes, because it's bigger, stronger, faster, and the brain is protected just the same as it was.
Yeah. Cranium's not getting bigger, stronger, faster.
Right. You can't build muscle around your brain to protect it, no cushioning. But yeah, all I'm saying is that even though we're building a faster athlete, are we building a better football player who can handle the stresses of the game? Or are we handling or creating somebody that's going to have more little injuries that are going to hinder them from playing a 14, 15 game schedule?
Well, the beauty of a schedule, any schedule these days, is that it has 3 or 4 patsies, no matter what conference you're in. And whatever he's preparing them for as we study, look at this team and what they'll be ready to do and not do as they go into that first game against Alabama, a game unlike any we've really ever played to start a year, is that I really look at it as a grouping. I say, look, that's part of, and Jimbo just referenced it, that's part of the tough, brutal, really, physical test that the start of this season is. It's Bama, it's NC State, it's Miami. Those 3 games specifically because of the defensive lines, because of the prowess and the strength of those teams being largely on defense. Not that Alabama can't move the ball, but you know what I'm saying. Just talent for days on that side of the ball. It's lauded and noted by all, including NFL draft experts, as being littered with talent that will play at the next level. What's your record in those games? Can you survive those games? And it's mental and physical in a way that you don't usually see. But if you do, you get a nice reprieve. Not that somebody can't rise up and upset you, but it would be a big upset. You get some things where you can rest guys and still win football games easily. You just got to get through that grouping.
If you get through that grouping and you're undefeated, you're talked about as Florida State than the rest of the teams in the country. You're number one, and you're insulated from the rest of the discussion, are you not?
The talk begins, though, I do think, where it changes now is as we get set for the season, do you believe they'll get through that grouping undefeated? I don't, because I'm not picking them to beat Alabama.
No, I'm nervous about the NC State game. I'll be honest.
Just because of where it falls?
Yes. That it's here helps. If it was up there, I might already be penciling that in a certain way.
Well, it falls after the Miami game, and you will have played Alabama and Miami in 2 of your first 3 weeks. One's a rival. Both are good on defense. And now you've got to come back to Doak Campbell Stadium. Also, after having played all-night games, you will have played 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, primetime football games, and we don't know the time of the NC State game yet. My guess is it won't be a night game. So, yeah, let's say that's a sleeping nooner. I hope not.
But, I mean,
I doubt it will be, right? No.
No, I mean, you could even be primetime on, like, ESPN2 or ESPNU or something at that point.
You think we play 4 games in a row at night? That'd be interesting.
I think if we win our first 3, then we might very well be playing
you're
another
definitely not
game.
You're definitely not at Wake.
No, I'm just saying.
Snuggy Hill, baby.
If you think about it this way, even though it's considered 4 games, you think of it like 4 weeks. You're playing Alabama, Miami, and NC State within 21 days of each other. I mean, just think about that on the body, you know? That sounds a little bit different than that's a 4-week span. Because a 4-week span, you're thinking a month. 21 days. And those are 3 of the teams that you're going to have to play. That's a hell of a thing.
But if you survive it, and if you come out of it unblemished, goodness gracious, Wake by Duke. Let's get it on.
Yeah.
Let's get right. Let's get healthy.
Hyperbaric chamber.
Let's feel good. And then take it to Wallace Wade. Lay it on the limp-fisted fish handshake that is my man Cutcliffe. Do you think I was going to say something else?
I don't know. Caught me by surprise.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from LoCash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Home and your family, the Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do, with quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
The Ford Summer Sales Event is in full swing.
Is your truck going to be able to handle all these pavers for the patio?
No problem. The F-150 has got a high-strength military-grade aluminum alloy body.
Oh.
With best-in-class payload, the F-150 can handle the work you need it to.
Remember when I had a high-strength military-grade body?
I don't, actually.
It's always a good Take on summer right with Ford, America's best-selling brand, during the Ford Summer Sales Event. Hurry and get our hottest offers during the Ford Summer Sales Event, like 0% financing for 60 months on select Ford F-150s. Plus, get an additional $1,000 on top of your trade-in. Offer ends July 31st. Best selling based on 2016 sales when properly equipped. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR based on Ford segmentation. Not all buyers qualify for Ford credit financing. 60 months at $1,667 per month for $1,000 finance regardless of down payment. Trade assist cash requires trade-in of 95 or newer vehicle or lease terminated 30 days prior to or 90 days after new retail delivery. Not available on Raptor. See dealer or go to buyfordnow.com for complete details. Take new retail delivery from dealer stock by July 31st, 2017.
Hey, Wally Woodham here. In 1974, I set the national high school passing record at Leon High with 3,560 yards.
Jimmy Jordan here. Wally, I broke your passing record at Leon the very next year.
Well, Jimmy, in our 3 years together at FSU, I threw for 22 touchdown passes.
Wally, that's pretty good, but I had 39.
Well, Jimmy, look at the deal I got at AAA Transmission.
That's a pretty good deal, Wally. At least your car's a winner.
Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop in at AAA Transmission and ask for owner Tim Pridgeon, servicing Tallahassee for over 30 years. AAA Transmission, 1023 North Monroe Street, or call them at 222-2532.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History.
July 19th, 1996. The 1996 Olympic Games opened in Atlanta, Georgia. The opening ceremonies were pretty standard until the end of the torch rally, when a 4-time gold medal swimmer passed the torch to Muhammad Ali, who was suffering from Parkinson's disease. The emotional crowd cheered as Ali lit the fuse that would ignite the Olympic flame for the duration of the Games.
How's your car's air conditioner working? Could be better? Take it to Auto Super Service Center today for a comprehensive air conditioner service. It's just $49.99. Yep, just $49.99. Since 1980, Tallahassee's trusted name for auto repairs, service, and low prices has been Auto Super Service Center. There are 5 Tallahassee area Auto Super Service Center locations. Find the one nearest you at autosuperservicecenter.com and call for an appointment. $49.99 air conditioner service special is a limited time offer, so call today.
Tallahassee Sports Center.
I'm Lee Gordon. Tallahassee will be overrun with potential future Seminoles today as the Jimbo Fisher camp begins. It'll be a star-studded affair. Last night was also a star-studded affair, all about raising money for the Lift for Life, where the Florida State football team was hoping to raise at least $5,000 for Fanconi anemia. Baseball wheeling and dealing ahead of the trade deadline. The Yankees pick up Todd Frazier from the White Sox, while J.D. Martinez heads to the Diamondbacks from Detroit for a trio of minor leaguers. Dallas Cowboys owner and GM Jerry Jones says he has spoken to Ezekiel Elliott since the running back's involvement in an incident in a bar Sunday. This comes in the wake of his potential suspension by the league from a domestic violence investigation he is also involved in. And suspended Baylor defensive back Trayvon Blanchard is suspended indefinitely from the team. Now he's under investigation and accusation because of his arrest after an alleged incident involving his girlfriend.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You know what we failed to get into? I guess we can a little bit here. Have you seen the push now by the networks to try to incorporate out-of-home, as they call it, out-of-home viewership numbers? Sports media article, John Oren wrote and said that Fox Sports averaged 35.1 million viewers for its Washington-Dallas game last Thanksgiving, making it the most viewed regular season NFL game in Fox Sports history and the NFL's biggest regular season TV audience since 1995. Still, Fox executives say that already record-setting viewership actually was 40% higher than was originally reported when combined with out-of-home viewership. The game averaged a whopping 48.7 million viewers. I raised an eyebrow when I read that first paragraph because, as we know, ratings were way down for the NFL a year ago. And ESPN executives said about that 40% viewership increase that they've seen similar increases with out-of-home audiences when they were added to the Christmas Day schedule of their NBA games. Oh, convenient that you've noticed it within your NBA package. Okay. Then it didn't surprise me either that they had a few people weigh in, including Kelly Johnson, the vice president of advertising and marketing for ESPN. So again, second paragraph of that story, I thought, I don't know if you did. I want to compare and contrast here, but you're a sharp guy, but you did. I have a feeling. I read that and I went, Fox and ESPN agree. Way more viewers than the actual ratings suggest. Is that where we're going? This is the mood of the article, is it? The development of Nielsen's out-of-home system is one of the most closely viewed happenings in sports TV for the fall, especially when it includes NFL kickoffs. After a season that saw the ratings fall by over 10%, the increases...
Over 10%. That's huge.
The increases that come from out-of-home ratings might build momentum for NFL telecasts that saw the biggest TV ratings drop in years, according to network executives. Sure, okay. I see where we're going here. They go on and say this about that. Nielsen wants to count the viewers watching television outside of their homes now and has created an audience sample to register viewing from, say, bars and restaurants, maybe even hotels or your office at work. Second homes even. That all sounds a little desperate. It is. People in the Nielsen sample carry a device the size of a pager that picks up audio encoding from a nearby television station. The key is to pick up audio. People watching in bars or an airport where there's no sound aren't counted, even if they are watching. So far, ESPN and Fox are the only networks to sign on up for those ratings. CBS and NBC are having discussions with Nielsen. They want to know whether or not they should sign up too. We're currently working with Nielsen to ensure that its out-of-home methodology is truly accurate, reflects the full audience picture. NFL Network will likely participate. Of course they will. So Fox is enthusiastic. ESPN is as well. But this system is, of course, not without its skeptics. This guy right here, and I think the guy across from me included.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's why. Ad buyers, well, they already question how much value they should assign to an out-of-home viewer. As someone watching television at a restaurant, are they really engaged as someone watching from home? Ad buyers also point out that, hey, look, that's already accounted for in the price tag that you sell us when you're ESPN or Fox and you're seeking our advertising dollars, saying that they already pay for that as part of the out-of-home viewers that they are aware of anyhow. The delay in reporting out-of-home numbers also presents another problem. It takes a couple of weeks for Nielsen to come up with that. I'll stop there. The ratings went down. There've been talk of how do you capture, the ACC network discussion about will it look like the SEC network? Will it be a linear channel, or do you incorporate many other avenues? How do people consume entertainment now as opposed to what they did 5 years ago? What's the future look like? This is an active discussion, but they have to monetize it because they're losing advertisers. They're showing a dip in ratings because they're measuring ratings by traditional means as opposed to knowing if somebody's watching on a device like an iPad, whatever that might be. This sounds like shenanigans.
Okay, a couple of thoughts on this. Number one is if I'm at a bar, let's call it hypothetically the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway.
Yeah.
So that's this fictional bar. And it has a wall of TVs, fictionally known as the Vegas Wall. And there's 8 games going on at once. One of those happens to be the game that's on in the local market. You know what happens when that game that's on in the local market goes to commercial break? I watch one of the other 7 TVs with the other 7 games
that have other games on them, right?
So from the advertiser's standpoint, I'm doing jack squat. Number 2, the NFL Red Zone, which prides itself on we don't do commercials on the NFL Red Zone, has undercut the value for CBS, Fox, ESPN. I mean, you name it. they've undercut the value of watching a complete game, and they've undercut the value to, the buyers. Unless you're one of those few that get on the NFL Red Zone when they do adjacent sponsorships of like the top fantasy players of the day or something like that. You've taken a huge segment of people that would be watching on the networks and seeing the commercials, and you've taken them out of the equation. And then number 3, well, this existence of out-of-home viewership, it didn't just start now because they're counting them. It's been like that always. So what they're trying to do is get up to the old numbers or exceed the old numbers before they fall too far down. So, like, if you have, let's say, 48 million viewers for a game, and you have that including out-of-home viewership, well, and I have from 10 years ago, 48 million by the old number. Well, and how many was it 60 million that were watching the game, including out-of-home? The numbers are still going down. The viewership is still down.
The options are bountiful. It has to. Like, we don't have – you're never going to find, go back to the halcyon days where everybody's tuned into one of 4 channels. The ratings are going to be down. You'll never recapture that.
No, too many choices.
No, you can't do that. Also, again, we can watch anything on demand now. So
what you have to sell is that this is one of the few things in the world that people still want to watch live. And that's got to be your pitch. And if your numbers drop every year a little bit because less people watch, then you just have to be able to eat that.
I just laugh that the angle here is that they think they're discovering something now to present to advertisers to prove that more people, not less people, are watching their product. And they showed right off the bat that the biggest benefactor, or the area in which they get the largest bump, 14% for early evening Sports Center when you count out-of-home viewers. Really?
Well,
that's convenient. Let me guess what else. Any NBA game you have on a Wednesday?
Right.
Yeah, I see where this is going.
Well, again, it's just like, okay, so what if I'm a buyer, I would turn around to ESPN or Fox and say, oh, so people just started leaving their homes now? Just like in 2016 or 2017, this is a new phenomenon. The only one I'd excuse it for
Thanksgiving
is
travel
Thanksgiving
or something.
Yeah, because, dinner tables have 15 people around them, and so maybe 5 households that will be watching it instead of you not only have 1 household instead of 5 that would be watching a game. I got you there.
The aforementioned Kelly Johnson, who talked about how exciting it is for ESPN and Fox to note this audience that they may be able to quantify now, is noting that things like Around the Horn and PTI picked up, as well as SportsCenter, by over 10%. That's precious.
Yes, because all the bars have the sound up on that. Yeah.
Oh, that's too good. Do we even have time? Okay, MLB, probables. Let's go.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Wow. Colorado's dropped 17 runs, and that game's not over. Ass-kicking Central going on right there. We had some day games. I'll skip them, although I just told you one. What do we got tonight? Jeff, get to the games already. Cameron, can you get to the games?
Mets and the Cardinals are playing.
Brewers, Pirates, Zach Davies, Garrett Cole. Let's go Bucks, Rangers, Orioles, Martin Perez, Kevin Gossman. We've got D-backs, Reds, Greinke, and Adelman. Cardinals, Mets, Mike Leake, Jacob deGrom, he's good. Blue Jays, Red Sox, Aaron Sanchez, Drew Pomeranz. Dodgers, White Sox, Kenta Maeda, Carlos Rodon. Tigers, Royals, Justin Verlander, Jason Hamill. We've got Nats, Angels as the late night. How about Trout and
Bryce Harper?
Bryce going yard in the first inning last night.
And Bryce had 4 hits last night.
4 for 4.
Yeah.
Guy didn't suck. He's back to being having good years. Yeah, Gio Gonzalez is going for the Nats. Alex Meyer goes for the Angels. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the boat.
Summer wind.
Like painted. I would say to you that quite clearly a couple of things were true last year, and I guess shame on me for not knowing one about my own guy, although I wondered about it. But with the return to form that we've seen from Mr. McCutchen in Pittsburgh, I got to believe he was playing hurt last year and was not going to tell anybody about it. And I think Bryce Harper played hurt last year, too.
Yeah, I think so. That's a nice lineup they got in Washington.
Oh, it's good.
Too bad that bullpen is ass.
Daniel Murphy, really, you probably...
How could you have known?
But, man, has he become...
Yeah.
Like, it's not flukish anymore.
No,
it's just...
It's annoying is what it is.
I feel you, man. As a guy who had Jose Bautista starting at third for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at least we won a pennant with him, but I mean, damn.
Come on, man. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be well. Front row's up next. Stay tuned.